ladies, welcome. What is it that gets you out of bed in the morning to want to create content?
I love hearing from business owners that a video I made for them made a difference for them. When a business texts me or sends me an email and they're like, we had a line the next day, like I get an almost physical high. It's like my 20s all over again, but less Colombian. It's so good though.
If you are a small business and you're looking to hire content creators, what should your monthly budget be?
I would say $5,000 a month. So anywhere between $300 to $1,000, depending on the influencer. If they're a really big influencer, you may want to give them all $5,000 because you know they're going to move the needle for you.
And what people don't realize about our Las Vegas community over any other community in the entire country is how close our network is in Vegas. We all say hello, we all know each other, we've all been to the same events. So when you work with someone who knows all of us, then it's easier and your budget can be smaller.
Welcome to Fargo Talks.
Fargo Talk.
Fargo Talks.
This is Fargo Talks.
And I think that now it is people in your chairs are getting much more respect. It's something that we've talked about, ad nauseum, that now it's why hire a PR firm to have a 4-paragraph testimonial put in the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Who's reading that, first of all? No one's reading that. No, who reads things anymore?
Right.
Like reading's like a fad. Like what? Show me a video of something.
Right.
It's the only way that I'm going to consume and digest information.
Yeah.
Look at, we can get political for a second because I like the guy that sells bric-a-brac, as she says, and just using the term bric-a-brac, I love you for that.
Right. Who sells the bric-a-brac?
Trump does bric-a-brac.
Oh, the merch.
Says all the
Yeah.
tchotchkes
Yeah.
that Trump does. And I'm independent, but I just think he's a better fit. So that's who I'm going with. But I'm old school that you can be voting for a tree. I still love you.
A tree.
Like I love you as a person. I don't care. Like I'm not one of those polarizing, well, I'm going to remove you like a cancer from my life if you're voting for somebody. I don't care who you're voting. Just vote.
It's
That's all I
funny you
care
say
about.
that, and this is going to come out after the election, and I am fearful that we will, as a nation, be in a much worse place, at least in the short term following the election. Like I think no matter what happens, people are going to just dissolve into chaos on either side because it's so emotional. But I just did a brand deal with Nevadans Against Nuclear Testing. And to me, it seems, I don't know, maybe I was making assumptions. It seems like we would all be kind of unified in that we don't want atomic weapons
Absolutely.
being detonated in our literal backyard. So I made it really clear because I don't take a public political stance. Like I probably would tell people I'm independent, but I also support women and I support disenfranchised people. And I'm not one to wear merch for a politician or attend gatherings. I think that's all a lot. But with that being said, I thought not blowing up nuclear weapons is really neutral. I thought we could all get behind
That's
that.
safe.
And the issue comes from the call to resume nuclear testing came from the Heritage Foundation's 2025, Project 2025, which I'm not super familiar with. I have not read it, but I guess that is an incredibly divisive
It is.
script.
Absolutely is.
But the thing is whether it's real or not, or whether or not people plan to do Project 2025, there are multiple people that have said we should indicate to the world that we have nuclear readiness, and the best place to do that is 65 miles north of Las Vegas. All politics aside, I don't like the idea of that because of groundwater contamination and
Everything.
Right.
Yeah.
It just seems like a
All the
bad idea.
things.
Right. It seems like a terrible idea. And I got tons of comments from people that were like, well, we haven't done testing since the 50s, which is not true. We stopped it in 1992. So it's fairly recent that they were doing nuclear testing. And they say this is obviously like a dig at Trump. And I was like, no, I would like us, and I guess the point of this rant is, I think it's wild that we're at a place where if you support a candidate, that means that you ride or die everything that they say is gospel. It used to be that if we supported a candidate, we were extra hard on them. We held them accountable, and because they are literally paid to represent our will.
Right.
Which would mean if you're a Trump supporter and Trump is calling for nuclear readiness, and that means testing 65 miles north of Las Vegas, that you should go hard on him as your candidate. Just because you support him doesn't mean that you should support everything that he stands behind. And somehow we've gotten to this place where if you're a Trump supporter or the opposition, Harris, Waltz, and you say anything negative, they'll dogpile on you.
Absolutely.
And I got hundreds of messages saying like, well, if Trump believes that we should test, then we should test. And I'm like, I don't care who says it. I think it's a terrible idea. And in 2024, we've got to find a better way to test nuclear weapons than, like, there has to be some area of land where it won't impact humans or the environment horrifically, or can't we test with like computers or something now?
AI.
Right. It seems like there's got to be like a better plan than what we did. But anyway, it just surprised me at how angry people got that I took a stance at all. And I feel very strongly that we build our platforms. Mm-hmm. If we want to use that to speak out against something that we feel strongly about and you don't like it, scroll past.
Well, you've earned, this is for all of you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you've earned your audience. Mm-hmm. You haven't paid for it, which we can all find out who pays.
Right.
And for those of you that pay for your audience, fuck you. I put those people on blast all the time. I put other podcasters on blast that pay for their audiences and charge appearance fees or through the roof.
Digital social.
I'd have a way bigger following if I was paying for my followers.
Yeah,
we all would.
Yeah, we'd all have. I mean,
at a zero.
Yeah,
to everybody. But it is. I think in the beginning people did that, and I equate that to like the Tour de France. And here I am in the Peloton. I'm pedaling, and I've been working my ass off, and I have giant quads, and I'm doing my thing, and going up the French Alps, and I got a shot at the lead, and here comes Lance Armstrong out of nowhere. All juiced up with 4 testicles and just flying up the side, doing his thing, and he wins.
Doesn't he
wins
just
again.
have one testicle?
I
Where
think
did he get
so.
the other 3?
Well, he got them all from fake pee.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
He had to get the other 3 removed.
Okay.
Like cow udders. Just had to get them like just surgically removed.
I haven't
Jenny.
even heard the name Lance Armstrong
that's
in like 20 years.
right there.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard
you
of
only
that
get it
one.
in Fargo Talks.
Me neither.
My friend. But it to me, I'm like, you see that, and that's just from my purview in my world as a podcaster, you see that, and I put those people on blast all the time because how dare they? And I'm not hating on them. I'm just shedding light on you're not being authentic, where everybody here is being authentic in what they're doing. And first, ladies, welcome.
Thank you.
We started off talking about nuclear holocaust going on,
Which I thought we'd all agree on.
Which we thought, and which we yes.
Seems like that's an easy one.
For both of you ladies, is it something how did you get into content creation? Is it something that you just fell into? Is it something that you saw somebody posting and went, oh, I could do that. That looks like fun.
Yeah. Well, I think as a journalist, I was very limited on what type of content I could put out there, right? Because we do have to stay very neutral in our job. And for me, it actually kind of started when I met my husband. And he was doing it for his business. As a real estate agent, it's kind of boring to see content when it's just all about houses and what you've
sold,
right?
Just listed, market updates.
Watch, right.
And they never
now.
list the price, which I think they aren't allowed to.
Right.
But like that's all I want to know.
Exactly.
They
people.
have started though. There's some like realtors that are doing the content of the houses, and then at the end they're saying the price. Which
and it depends. It depends on how transparent you want to be, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to attract people so that they ask questions, and that you don't want to give them everything at once. Yeah. So when I met my husband, his strategy was let me show people the lifestyle that they'll be living once they move here. And so for me as a journalist, every day I am going out and I am sharing everyone else's story but mine. And when I do share my story, I felt like I got the most engagement. People want to know who I am, right? Instead of just being the news lady, which I've been for 13 years and people still know me as that. They want to know who Renee is. And so I kind of just started turning the camera towards myself, not in the job capacity, but in the fun capacity, which did get me in trouble at work at the place that you mentioned earlier. but it opened up so many doors for people to get to know me And I think that's when I fell in love with really like just creating content. And that's what we do. As a multimedia journalist, you shoot, you write, you edit. Like basically I've been training for this all of my life, right? So it became a real easy transition for me to do. And so since then, it's just been amazing. I've seen growth. I've seen engagement. I've met some amazing people. And, my husband and I have been really blessed to just be able to be in spaces to enjoy these restaurants and things to do. And on top of that, because they still see me as a credible source of information, now I can kind of dive a little deeper into my content and tell a story and really just put Black and brown businesses on the map too. A lot of people move here and they don't feel like there's culture here. Well, I'm from New Jersey originally, so I get it. You're not going to get the type of culture from New York or from New Jersey that you're going to get out here. But that doesn't mean there's no culture out here. It's just different. So to be able to introduce that to people who are moving to Vegas and introduce it to people who already live here, to content creators who've never been to certain restaurants, right?
Yep,
We took you to Calabash.
I was just going to say, yeah.
I just told her, I said, this is what happens when you have Black friends.
It was amazing. The food was so good. And it's something like I wouldn't have seeked out. Like I wouldn't have known. And you even said that you're like, we bring our friends here and like no one knows about this spot. And yeah, it brings culture to Las Vegas and it was beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of people don't go to African restaurants, They're not introduced to it because of the circle around them. That's not something they're doing. Yep. So if I can get into the mix and start introducing that culture to people, I think that's an avenue in Vegas that's missing. So that's how I got started, essentially.
I surround myself with people that care, people that give a shit. Anthony Vacara of Valhalla Solutions is one of those people. He's helped me get more life insurance. I didn't think I needed it. I do. I just got engaged and I wanted there to be a financial cushion there for Brandy, for my fiance, should I leave this world anytime soon. But boy, did alarms go off because my rate was not that good. And it's not because of Anthony, it's because of lifestyle decisions that I've made. Because of this road I've gone down with Anthony, I'm now eating clean. I'm now working out more. I am focused on my wellness and living a more fruitful, healthy life. And it's because of Anthony. But also now I know my family's taken care of when I leave this planet. I strongly recommend you contact him immediately. You will be so much better off for it.
I'm kind of different. I did broadcast in like high school, but it was like a hobby, right? It was just for fun. It was an elective. Went through college and I really wanted to be a doctor or I wanted to go into the medical field. So going through college, I was in a sorority. I was doing nothing with video, nothing with anything of this sort, taking biology classes. And I did events as a hobby on the side as well. Like every college kid needs a job. So I was doing florals and events, and that was my true hobby back then. But I also had a huge passion for eating and like finding places that were like local hidden gems, similar to like how you're saying you want to bring like the culture out. I wanted to bring these like mom and pop spots out that were like no one knew about. And I was the queen at finding them amongst my friend group. The second I got my license in high school, I wanted to go to all these places. And we'd bring my parents there and they didn't even eat at certain places that I took them to. We always ate at home. And so I always wanted to find these. And moral of the story, we went through college and my friends were watching me. And this is the kind of the start of Instagram. And they were all saying like, you could do this, you could do this. And I was like, I will never do this. And this is when I was following like Drew and I was following Phil and I was following Lindsay and all these people. And I was like, no, like that's not me. And I didn't even know there was money in this. Well, I went to San Diego and we were at a donut shop. It was that donut shop that Carl's Donuts just took over. What was before them?
I don't know, but I know they'll ruin it.
But there was a donut shop that was prior to where the new downtown Carl's Donut shop is. And they also had a San Diego location. They're a big donut company. I'm blanking on the name right now. But anyways, we went into there in San Diego and there was content creators behind the serving station, like how we all go behind the scenes. And they were filming and I was with two friends and Charlie, and my friends looked at me and they're like, that's what you can do. You can do that. And Charlie and I went on a trip to Oregon and I told no one. I made a profile called Local Livin'. And I started actually the profile doing travel. Like the idea was no matter where you travel like a local and you go to where the locals go. And I remember we were driving to Cannon Beach, and I secretly made the profile. Charlie's jamming out to music. I did not want to tell him. I was so nervous. And I started posting without him knowing. And I was posting like waterfalls, and obviously I had 0 followers, but I was posting the waterfalls, and I was posting the beer we went to. And I finally told him, I was like, look what I did. And I showed him the profile, and I was like, I think I'm going to go for it. But I was like, the deal is you tell no one. Like, we're going to tell my parents, come to start doing it around them. But I was like, we're going to tell no one else until I start getting the hang of it. And then I slowly introduced it to people. And bringing back to like the personal edge of this and how you're like, people want to know the person. I started realizing that on TikTok. I was already posting for like 3 years. I had 3,000 followers. And in 2020, I felt the same way. TikTok was going from like this dance platform that everyone was so scared to touch to people telling their stories and people doing voiceovers and being like quirky. And I was like, I want to be that person. And I saw this person do a voiceover. And we were sitting at the front. This was like a week before, and we went to the front yard. I was invited to go take pictures of the front yard. I was trying to get into photography, like food photography. And so they invited me in. I was taking photos for my profile and also going to give them the photos. And I looked at Charlie and I said, it just clicked. I got it. I was like, you got to go with the flow. And I started filming, and we got in the car. We did a voiceover in the car, and I made him come up with a catchphrase. And if you're an OG follower of mine, you will remember him doing, it's like, what's cooking? And like this like ridiculous beginning phrase. And we did it in all my videos for like the first 6 months until I got bored of it. And that's when I cut it. But yeah, I believe people wanted personality, and in something personal in my voice is, I get told all the time, I know it's rustic, and I get told I sound like a chain smoker. I've never smoked in my life, guys. I've never done that. I don't
You
smoke
have
cigarettes.
the Demi Moore, St. Elmo's Fire voice.
Vocal fry.
Yeah.
It's rustic, and I get
Double
it.
down on it, kiddo. Double down on it.
I don't
It's
mind
awesome.
it, but I crack up when people are like, you chain smoker. I'm like, geez, I've never had a cigarette in my mouth.
Well, see, what I would do is reply back going, I'll get back to you in a second at Moapa right now, getting a carton of Camel non-filters.
Oh, I should.
Yeah,
just lean into it. Be like, you're really right.
Well, see, for me, I have to learn how to not sound like I'm doing the news.
Oh my gosh.
Like
I
every
never thought about
voiceover
that.
I
You have to go
do,
back.
they're just like, oh, I just love your news voice. And I'm like, it's not my news voice. It's mine. It's my voice. Yeah. So I have to constantly find ways to break out of that presentation mode, even when I'm not trying.
So like more like animated?
Yeah. Or just, I don't know, just, you know how you are when you're not on camera or in front of people or trying to present something, right? And so for me, like even now when I'm talking to you, people are like, oh, I love her news voice. And it's just like, it's not, it's really just me
it's you.
But I think
more
after a while
professional.
it becomes your voice. Because like I'm from the South. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. And where I'm from, people speak with a very specific twang. And when you poll people in studies have said that they think that people who have British accents sound educated and people who have Southern accents sound uneducated, or people immediately jump to conclusions about their beliefs or social stances. So I worked really hard to get rid of it so that I have no accent at all. And now it's just how I talk. And then when I go home, people back to the South to visit my family, they're like, what happened? You sound like you're from California. And I'm like, no, this has just become the way that I speak. So it may be that your news voice is just, it's just you now because you did it for so long. Yeah.
How long did, and this is a question for all of you I have, how long did it take you to quote unquote find your voice once you started to say, okay, this, like you started to see more engagement with your posts. You started to see more people watching your posts. But more importantly, you got more comfortable in your shoes as a content creator. How long did that take?
Well, I'll like continuing off what I was saying about personality and like how I found it, and I was like, this is it. I think I immediately knew I had to be myself from the beginning or it wasn't going to work. Because like if you are passionate about being a content creator and you would like to continue doing it, if you're not, I always say this, the first thing you go viral with is the thing that you should always want to do. Because at the end of the day, like that's why people started following you. And so I made sure from the beginning I had that idea that if I'm not me and I'm not comfortable making the content, I can't make it quick because you want to be able to be quick with your content. You want to be able to go home, be passionate about it, edit in 30 minutes and post it, right? Like
you can edit in 30 minutes?
I can edit and do a voiceover in probably 30 to 45 minutes.
You have 30 minutes.
30 minutes, time myself. But that was always in my head is like, I want to be able to do it quick. And the best way to do that is to be the most authentic. So I feel like I found my voice early, But have I tweaked it because of, yes, content and like how I know people like to hear me or how I say things or how I describe things? Yeah. But I feel like I wanted to find it early. I felt like I couldn't do it if I didn't.
Do you think 6 months? 3 months?
To like get it?
Yeah.
No joke. The first video, I think that's when I'm the person when it clicks, it clicks. And if it's not clicking, I can't do it. I just like fall out. I'm going through that with wedding planning right now. It's not clicking and I'm just falling out. I'm almost done with it. But when it clicks for me, I put my full force into it. So literally at the front yard, I can remember the feeling like at the front yard, I was like, holy shit, I get it. I get what I need to do. Yeah. Got in the car and within an hour and a half, the video was posted.
See, I've watched both of them for ages and I feel like she has always kind of been the way that she is. The biggest surprise about your content is that you're really into aesthetic. Like you really like things to look beautiful and it's very like there's a lot of thought behind it. Whereas like I focus on my voiceover and I just shoot whatever. I'm not as worried about the aesthetic. Yeah. With her, and I feel like your content or you really fell into your groove when you stopped working for the network. Oh. Because before then, I didn't really watch your content because news people always seem they're like the pretty girls. Like they're
part of the machine.
Right. They're perfect and they're untouchable and there's nothing real. Like I don't want to say plastic like the plastics in Mean Girls, but they're just very like polished and like they don't seem like real people. But when she started posting like pictures of herself in her like sweatpants at home, just being silly and goofy, like I feel like that's when your voice really clicked in.
And that's funny because outside of news, like I was on Musically, when Musically was a thing.
Really?
What was the one that started with the
Vine?
T? Vine.
Yeah.
I was all about that.
Really?
So at home, even now, you can ask my husband. I'm a TikToker. I'm doing the dances.
Awesome.
I know every trending dance happening right now. And I love doing that. But when I was at work, I couldn't do it, right? I had to keep it cute. I think what happened was for me, where I started finding my voice was saying, how can I make my job look more fun and still show who I am?
Right.
So when I blew up on Twitter, it wasn't because I was sitting at home with my sweatpants. It was because I was the news anchor doing the dances in the studio. I was the news anchor doing the trends in the studio. So people could say, she is a journalist, but she's the funniest journalist I've ever seen in my life. Like, I love her personality. I have people following me from Periscope to this day and found me on Twitter or on TikTok saying, oh my God, I've been looking for you and this is where you're at. Because I started doing going live on TikTok a lot.
Right.
Behind the scenes while I'm on the desk, read a story and then, okay, guys, so what the hell's going on with y'all? Oh, stand by. Okay, now, hey, what's going on? And people love the switch up.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I started finding my groove. But yes, after I left the network, then I really felt like now I can really be myself. And I don't have anyone telling me this isn't appropriate or we don't like this. Can you take it down? Or this is too salesy. It seems like you're selling something. I'm like, I'm going to Gilcrease Orchard. Like I live here. I want to pick sunflowers and do all that stuff. But because I say it in what you would consider a news voice.
Right.
Or I say, breaking news, everybody, Gilcrease Orchard is open for the summertime. It's like, oh, you can't use that. Breaking news is not, you don't own breaking news. Right. Like I can say breaking news whenever I freaking want to, you know? But because that's not how you want me to represent the entity.
Right.
It was taking my light away.
For sure.
So although it was hard to leave the industry, I feel more free than I ever have now. So now I can take those skills and make content that I would typically make for news, but now I make it with content. So I create, I make sure I put sound bites in, which people don't usually do. You record video, you do voiceovers, and that's it. No, I want sound bites. I want you to hear in the moment when we went to this place and I almost burned my mouth on this soup because it was so good. I want you to hear, people resonate with that. And I think too, they realize like, okay, when she says the food is good or when she says the event was cool, we can see in the video, she said it herself, it was good.
Right.
It's not just you telling me it's good because you're showing me videos.
Yeah.
It's great.
This is a good example of how different, because all three of us have a different approach, and I'm the exact opposite. Like, I try to keep myself and my personality out of my content because I just want to give you information so that you can make your own mind up. But as a consumer of content, I watch both of them. So, like, I'm getting value from what they're doing. There's people that's getting value from what I'm doing. It's just, it's wild how there's so many different ways to kind of tackle the same. We could all three go to the same restaurant today and come out with 3 completely different videos.
And I think that is the joy of content creation is we each have a fingerprint.
Right.
We're all different. Even identical twins have different fingerprints. And so as a content creator, when you're going out, if you do it with enough consistency, you create your own path.
Yeah.
And it's different than anybody else. And so for anyone that thinks, oh, it's too late, it's too flooded in podcasting, no, it's not too flooded because you have your own voice, your own passions, your own beliefs, your own taste in food or travel. And so you're just sharing that over and over and over again. That's it. And over time, your audience comes to you. Like people were looking from you. I was on Periscope. I love Periscope. Periscope was awesome. That's how when I was.
I missed that whole.
I was a title rep in real estate. I built my book of business walking into open houses in 2016, going, "Hi, I'm Jeff Fargo with First American Title. I could probably get 300 to 500 people to see your house right now." And they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
And I'd have them walk me through, and we would live stream, and people be asking questions, and you get little hearts, and then you'd show that to a realtor, and they'd go, and then next thing you know, everyone starts doing video around here.
And
so
that's why I loved like Periscope. And then when TikTok came out, I was like, let me start going live. And a lot of people aren't comfortable with going live because obviously it's like no fuck ups, right? Like you can't mess up, even though it's really not that serious. Like I think people take going live more seriously than it is. But that's how I grew my following, and people loved the real me, right? Because like you said, we're polished, we're plastic, we can only say certain things and keep it cute.
And your hair and makeup's always perfect.
Oh my gosh.
But after that, it's like, oh God, take these clip-ins out, take all this off my face. Like I don't want to do any of this, but you're so used to like presenting yourself in a certain way. So, and honestly, like when I really started like trying to have more fun with my content, I was a fangirl because you were doing what we as journalists wanted to do, right? And then that's what you do. People are getting their information from social media now.
For sure.
So for you, the way that you were doing your social media and you continue to do your social media, I think is like, we really do envy that because we want to be able to have a voice to talk about all the things that are happening in our community. But because we work for a certain entity, it's like, well, we don't think that that's important enough when it actually is.
It is.
The community wants to know about these stories. It's not about what your sponsors want to be attached to. It's not about what you think is right. And that's something just as a Black woman in journalism, I feel like we've all kind of struggled with because there are stories coming out of the community that people want to know about, that people want to talk about, but because you don't deem it as important enough, we don't get to report about it. And so I commend you. And I mean, you guys you ladies kill the content game for sure. Like I'm literally trying to catch up.
She does like I agree. You have made it where Las Vegas, you tell people about what they want to hear that people are scared sometimes to post. And I think that's amazing.
But it's not without negative blowback too. And this is something
Jennifer.
No.
Everyone
You
loves
mean everyone doesn't love you?
How dare you?
Shocking. I had an incident.
Get yourself grace.
I had an incident yesterday where I was talking to a major hospitality company here in town. And I won't name any names because I don't know how this is going to turn out. But they're having a grand opening for a major new, like not a nightclub, but like think barber shop, but at a different location. And I was talking to the person who's putting it together. And they were like, well, we were talking to marketing for this massive casino chain, massive, like one of the big 2 in town. And they said that you aren't allowed here. And they said, are you 86? And I was like, no, I'm not 86. What they mean is they don't work with me. They don't work with me because I will say negative things about them. And they were like, oh, okay, well, we need to investigate and make sure. So just to be safe, I called the head of security for that chain. And I said, I'm not like banned and I don't know it. And they're like, no, you can come in here. Marketing just won't work with you because they don't want you to say negative things about other aspects of the company. And I was like, well, I would love to work with you guys. You're a big player in town. But like, if that means I can't point out negative aspects of this, and this, then we can't work together. And I don't mean work together in the sense of accepting money. I mean, I'm off their invite list. Like I can't get in. I still get invited by people like the general managers of the restaurants and like wait staff and stuff will reach out and I still am able to cover them from that perspective. But I don't get invited to like all the fancy parties and stuff like that because I've made enemies. And to what you were just saying is about how the news organizations wanted to be able to kind of control the narrative. I'm wondering how long this is going to hold out before it changes.
Oh.
Because it has to change.
Right.
If they continue to shut out people who are honest and authentic, eventually people will stop sourcing them for information. The corporations and the news agencies. I think it's already with all the, circling back to politics, with all the political cycles, it's gotten to where if you watch news on this channel, you believe certain things. And if you watch over here. And so now it's to the point where I don't really watch the news. Unless something major is happening in the world, like something terrible or something amazing.
But TikTok will tell you.
Yeah.
Right.
Happening. TikTok will tell you.
For sure. Like I don't turn it on because whether it's CNN or Fox or MSNBC or I don't know who's in the middle, but like whatever's in the middle, like I don't know if what I'm getting is catered to advertisers or if it's polished or if it's been churched up or if it's a flat lie. But I know that if I see it on TikTok from 15 or 20 different sources who are there, that's probably going to be a more authentic.
Well, and that's interesting that you say that because companies spend so much money on reviews, right? Because so the fact that they don't want you to come in and give your authentic experience is wild to me because it's not negative. It's my experience.
Right.
And you should be expecting people that are going to come here that not everyone's going to like the food or not everyone's going to appreciate the ambiance or not everybody. And they're going to write it on Google or they're going to talk about it on TikTok or Instagram or in your comment section. And so to say like, we don't want you to come here and have an authentic experience is wild because companies are always going to try to put their best foot forward.
Right.
And to go back to what you were saying about news, working in the industry for a long time, I never felt like I was constricted or restricted, I should say, from telling a story that needed to be told. I've always stayed in the local news circuit because national news can get wild. But I will say that our country is in trouble because our education here is trash.
Yeah.
And most people would rather be followers and watch a particular station and take that as Bible instead of going out and doing their own research. And that is why people love TikTok because people on TikTok are doing the work. They're reading the reports. They're getting all angles. They're showcasing their experience on why it's important to them and tapping more into your humanity as to, let me go and start researching this stuff more often because the people I usually run into, it's like, damn, you ain't read a book in your life, have you? And and everything they're saying is gospel. And it's like, but this is in your face. No. He said this. So I'm just going to go with that. And it's just, I just wipe my hands of it.
No, I was going to say, I'm bringing it like back to content, though. It's really interesting because I did have a company. I didn't end up actually working with them, but our meeting initially was, if you come into our restaurant, we actually want you to be as honest as possible. They wanted me to make like a YouTube, like vlog style, as well as take clips of it and post on TikTok and Instagram. And they were like, but we want you to like order a bunch of food and we want you to sit there and we want you to film yourself eating it. If you don't like the food, say why you don't like it.
Thank God.
And they were like, and that's okay because guess what? You're going to like the next plate we give you or the next one. And you're going to find something you enjoy and you'll be able to talk so highly about that the bad, it wasn't a burger place, but like the bad burger is not going to matter because you're going to love, I don't know, the hot dog way too much. Like, and you're going to come back for that. So I think, and it was not a hot dog or a burger place, but those are just like the examples. But it was interesting to have that perspective. I told him thank you because I was like, you know what? It is hard to walk into a spot and not like it and have to be like, well, what do I do now? And a lot of us as content creators, though, I will say that, and I think you mentioned this, if we don't like a spot, a lot of us will be like, we didn't like it, I'm sorry, we can't post it. We're like, this is what we didn't like, and this is, maybe we have to come back and film again and in a couple months because it just didn't work out. So, and I think you mentioned that on something we talked about.
Yeah, and then there's some creators like Phil that'll write you like a 10-page dissertation about all the reasons your food needs to improve. And like,
I love him. I love
we
it.
just all take a moment and share our general combined love for Phil.
Oh my God, I love
that
Phil.
man just walks on water.
I think he is the mentor of all.
He's the best.
Like the amount of people I've heard that go, yeah, we went to Phil and asked. Like we went to Phil and asked.
He's like Yoda. He's like the Yoda of Las Vegas content creators.
He
round
really
of applause
is.
for Phil.
Yes,
round of applause for Phil.
We actually found out about Calabash from Phil.
Really?
When they first opened.
Yeah,
He's
in the know about
it. It's like they
everything.
literally opened their doors and Phil was right there. And then when we found out about it, it was just like it was on from there. And we've created such a great relationship with them.
That's so cool.
Getting back I love it when Jenny got me when she started doing like real reviews of hotel rooms.
Oh gosh,
Like
love those.
the black light.
Yes.
Like it looked like Dexter's Kill Room. Some of those. It was like, oh my God. Like stuff that you knew but you didn't know.
I don't want to know, Jen. I don't want
But
to know.
I need to know.
It was almost like 60 minutes level, like expose.
You're right.
Pulling back the onion, and here it is. And I thought that was super cool for Jen to do that. Out of every, let's say, 100 posts that you do, how many of them are, it didn't meet my expectations, or I wish they did this better?
Oh, like at a restaurant or something?
Out of any piece of content, if you're going to Disneyland and Mickey pees on your foot, like, do you talk about that?
That'd be hilarious. I would.
Which would
if
be
he did.
fucking hilarious. But I'm just, out of every 100 posts, is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 5 that you're like, I got to keep it real because I have to keep it real to my audience. It can't all be, unicorns jumping through rainbows all the time. People see through that shit.
So it's hard for me. I believe in never posting anything negative. So if I don't like it, I won't put it in the video. I only post what I do enjoy or something like that I think that someone else might enjoy, but it's not my preference. Like speaking of Disneyland, there was a pickle hot dog dipped in, I don't know, it was a corn dog, pickle dog, and you dip it in peanut butter. I hate pickles and I don't like peanut butter. So for me, I wanted to try it though. And in the video, I said, I don't like pickles, but here it goes. And I was actually pleasantly surprised by the combination. I would never order it again, but I can appreciate why someone else would. And so I think as long as I can appreciate why someone else would, there's no reason not to post it because of my preference. Because all of us, and we said this earlier, all of us don't have the same taste. All of us don't have the same content. All of us don't have the same, I call them flavor buds. Like we do not. We don't. We all are going to like different things. And it is not my job to tell you what I like and what you won't like. It's my job to tell you why I liked it. And maybe hopefully you'll have that experience that you can go in and say if you don't or you do. And some people won't like what I like, and that's okay. And I think that, that's kind of where I post is like I want to post it where it's fun and uplifting and good content because like she said, I like to post. The reason I ended up liking this career is because I was able to be creative and fun with it while enjoying what I want to enjoy. And so I think doing a vetting process prior to even going to the restaurant, like if I'm not going to like it and I wouldn't go on an average Wednesday for lunch with Charlie, why am I going to film it anyways?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to go there. So like if I'm posting it, there's a reason I'm posting it. But yeah, there has been, speaking of Phil and I did go to a place. We both sat there the whole dinner and we were like, oh gosh, this is not good.
Oh, who was it? Track him.
I can't track him. I'm sorry. But we did go somewhere.
Rhymes with.
Well, I will say this. It is closed.
Right.
It
I'm
is
like,
closed. It is closed now.
Oh, you can say it. Oh my
No, because I
gosh.
don't know if the
I would tell you.
new restaurant that took over is the same idea.
Same owner?
I don't know. I'm not going back.
What kind of food is it?
I'll just say it was caviar. You guys can take that for what you will. But it was a caviar experience. And
Caviar is easy to fuck up, by the way.
Either be
It
the
is,
one at
Caviar
Resorts
is very easy to
World.
fuck up.
but it wasn't
Oh, it's the one at
caviar.
Resorts World.
It wasn't the caviar. It was Jen. When
Jen
I
is
say
the walking
I don't-
human blacklight.
I'm
Jen.
like,
Don't give a damn.
I'm like, I don't say anything negative. Jen's like, I'll do it for you.
No, I
got this.
I had to think about which caviar experience really sucked, and it was the one at Resorts World. They were awful. They have been replaced by a caviar experience. It's much better.
Okay, well, I won't. So I'm like, once I get a bad taste in my mouth, it's really hard to get me to go back. And I'm not going to diss the new one, at all. I do not know about them at all. But I will say the one that we went to, we had a really bad experience. And Phil,
it's a
Phil
new
wrote
group.
for the both of us.
Yeah,
And I don't know if he included my name in it, but he sent me the message. And I was like, cool, because I could never do. He was really nice in the message, but it was really straightforward. And I think that's important. Like, right? If you don't want to post it, you don't have a good experience, tell them. Or like I do, I'm just like, I can't post this.
I didn't post for them either. I went twice.
A few
It was
people
awful
did, but a few people loved it. And that's where I'm like, it's all preference, right? Like I know creators who I talked to about it after who did post it and they actually really enjoyed it. So maybe we went on a bad night. Maybe it's not
it was
our
bad. It was really bad.
You don't like caviar.
No, I am allergic to caviar, but everything else on the menu,
Lord.
everything else on the menu was also terrible.
I agree. I'm just
Like
giving
it
you
was
crap.
really bad, but I did end up posting one video because finally they were like, "You've been in here now 3 times. Why haven't you posted anything?" I was like, "Because the food sucks." And they're like, "Why do you keep coming back?" And I was like, "Because I like you guys. I want to be helpful.
wanna like them.
So I posted like one. They had this little black ball. It looked like caviar, but it was a cheesecake, and I hate cheesecake too. But I posted that one dessert because it was
cracking me up.
pretty. And but there's a reason they went out of business.
Yeah.
You know, because they were terrible.
But she's exactly speaking how I just said, right? Like we post sometimes because we think other people will like it. And like we can't be the judge
Yeah.
always. Like if there's a reason that someone else will like it, there's no reason not to post it. But I'm not going to say it's the best or that I absolutely love it or anything. But you got to give the people the opportunity to try things because if not, to be honest, like I would eat bagels every day for breakfast and pasta every day for dinner. Like I would not be as adventurous as I am. And so I can't give everyone you know.
What's your take?
Well, luckily, I don't think we've been anywhere that we haven't liked. There may be some items on the menu that we didn't really care for, but I can honestly say that most of the places that we've been to, we've had a favorable experience. I know for my husband, he's been to more places. If he doesn't like the food, he'll like do a short post on the story, like just with like music. He
Just to
won't
be
say
nice,
anything, just to
right.
be nice. To say like, hey, we tried some of your food and that's it. But that's very rare. So there's only been like a couple places and we'll tell them like, okay, this wasn't the best or we just won't post that specific thing, but we'll talk about the things that we did have. And if you're, go and try it yourself. But
And
yes,
that's
we're
what I
not going to
do.
say this is the best.
Right.
Unless we really strongly feel like this is literally the best place to get this particular food. But we try to be very aware of our verbiage too, because like you said, some people will get in there and be like, oh, this was trash and we didn't like this or whatever.
But
or
it's preference.
It is. It's all about preference.
Have either, and this is for all of you, have you ever given a not so good review or walked out, was like, we can't really do this with you guys, and they invited you back for a second try and it was better? And then you went ahead and was like, okay, now we can do something.
Yeah, I've had reviews change, and I want because I mentioned that it was a Resorts World. I want to say I love Resorts World.
Yes.
I think Resorts World is an amazing property, one of the best in the city.
Stop right there. Stop right there. And no, this is because this is my camera. If you think that Jen is getting paid by Resorts World,
Never.
in the comments below, I want you to email jeff@fargotalks.com with proof, with quantifiable proof. You have contracts, whatever terms of engagement, whatever that Jen has signed that says she is getting some type of compensation or otherwise for her representing Resorts World. Now continue.
I have drawn money out of the Resorts World organization one time, and it was not from Resorts World. It was from Transfix, which was
how dare you?
Yeah, and it was a labeled paid partnership.
Fine.
And it was I was paid by Allied Global Marketing, which was their PR firm, and they really pissed me off because it was a great art exhibit, but I guess they couldn't pay their bills on the inside, and they ended up closing after people had already purchased tickets, and they had to go through the refund process. And that woman who came after me in the comments, I think that may have been what she thought I got money from Resorts World because the event was held like in their parking lot, and it was a disclosed paid partnership. I did take money from them. Everyone knew it. But I've never been paid by Resorts World or any restaurant or anything inside of there. But I love Resorts World. But part of why I love Resorts World, their chief marketing officer is Ron Nicoli, he looks like a human Batman. Like, and his wife is a supermodel. Like, they're amazing. They're kind. They're excellent parents. But he's also just a good human, and he's really good at his job, and he's really receptive to feedback. So Ron's the type of person that if he says, hey, Jen, do you want to come check out whatever? And I go by and check it out and I hate it. And I tell him, he'll be like, okay, why did you hate it? And then we'll have a conversation about it. He'll be like, okay, cool. And then there's an understanding that I'm not going to post it if I don't enjoy it. The person who's in charge of social influencer wrangling for Resorts World his name is Kobe. And he is just a delight. He's just a great person. And he's the same way. He messaged me last night and said, hey, we have like an F1 go-kart experience set up. Do your kids want to come hang out? No obligation to post. Just come check it out and tell us what you think. My kids aren't tall enough to do it. It's for bigger kids. But that's the kind of, I can confidently say that the caviar bar was terrible because I know that they won't hold it against me, because you can love 98% of a resort and not like 2% of it.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
agree.
Gatsby's, 8, Fuhu, Carver Steak. There's amazing places at Resorts World. I don't love Crossroads Kitchen. It's a fully plant-based vegan restaurant.
They're pretty good.
They're okay, but it's like
you said,
again,
preference.
That's preference.
Yeah. It's preference.
It's preference.
I was gonna say, yeah, exactly. See, I was like, they're okay, but like, I get what you're saying. It's not my go-to, but I'm also not vegetarian.
Because like the way you're,
I'll go to Carver's.
Yeah, like the way you're explaining Resorts World, like. I'm not a huge fan of Resorts World.
Oh, really?
I love Viva.
And so that's why I'm like trying to get some little like takes from you.
You got to go to Viva and have the margarita, and then you'll change your mind.
Maybe.
But this is why it's crazy, because the comments will go fucking bananas. It's preference.
It is preference.
And what separates you from the people in the comments is you've been sharing your preferences longer on social media.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. Yeah.
And
that's it.
And my reply to everyone who's negative, like in my comments about food, I literally, you could scroll my comments, I say food is preference. Like I've said that so many times. It should be an automatic reply that I just reply, because I'm like, when people say this is gross, my automatic reply is food is preference, and that's okay, you didn't like it.
But see, that goes back to what I was saying about people and their education and being able to think for themselves. Because what happens is when you gain a certain amount of followers, people take your word as Bible. You are now a credible source of information, and if they don't agree with it, you're wrong, you're fake. I hate influencers, because that's the move now, right? All these influencers now, and this isn't a real job, and they're just getting paid to go to these places and say good things, because my experience was terrible. And it's like, do we have to literally explain to you that it's preference?
Right.
Do we like...
You made a good point, because you said that influencers are like fake and it's not a real job. And I get this all the time. We all get this all the time. And so being in the news industry, you've seen obviously like commercials and paid advertisements, and this probably a majority of your career. This is like part of it. And this is something I'm trying to wrap my head around. We do paid partnerships. She just mentioned she has a paid label. You'll scroll through mine, we have paid labels. So what is the difference from someone like us creating like a commercial essentially for a business versus an actual commercial on the TV nowadays? I mean, like think of a news channel view, and I think someone just told me this, is there's a popular show for the news, and they got like 42,000 views for the segment. And I was like, my video for Better Buzz, I don't know what it is now, but when I last checked, it was like 120,000 views.
Yeah.
It had like, I think it has like, I don't know how many likes. I haven't done it, but that's a lot of views, right? So you're telling me one segment gets that, and people want to pay to go on these news channels, or they want to pay. And I'm not shitting on the news. Like, I think there's points for every business to be on certain publications and profiles and things, but what is the difference? Like, why are people crapping, like, shit? Oh my, I keep saying crapping. This is so awkward, but like, shitting on us.
How dare you?
I'm trying to like keep it PG, and I was like, screw this.
Why?
Heather said the F word so many times, and I was like,
go,
go, girl,
again,
go.
Because they see people on the news as a higher level of credibility than they do some regular girl that's on the internet. Not calling you regular at all, but that's how people would see it, right?
Yeah.
Who are you for me to take your word to say that this place is better than this place, or this is this and then this? Meantime, I've been watching so-and-so on Fox 5 for the last 15 years.
You're right.
I watch them every morning. That's my source of information.
So do you think that right now, though, that like that news, like that segment that got like 40,000 views, let's just say, would get better people? Like, let's say we did it for a restaurant and there's 40,000 views on that segment. Are they going to bring more people in the door than an influencer nowadays?
That's a measurable thing for the company to figure out, right?
Right?
Because like with PR agencies, right? They have clients. No. It's all relative, but it's different, and it all depends on, again, do I believe you, or do I believe
So
you?
it just depends.
Right?
And
so it
that's
just
where I'm
depends.
trying to figure
and like
out.
when you're a company and you have a PR agency saying, okay, we're going to get you on this segment of the news, it's the same thing that you would be doing, just less personal. They're trying to find an avenue of people who are going to listen, who are going to go to their restaurant because it just opened. But if people don't watch the news, then how would they know it's opening?
I agree, and I
know?
think we like influencers versus PR, right? Like it seems like we're against each other, and I have a weird stance. I feel like I just said it. Every business has a reason for all these different avenues, right? Like I think that being on a news segment isn't bad. I don't think being in a magazine is bad. I don't think press releases are bad. Like I don't think anything, but I think a collection of everything is good. But I feel like influencers, and yes, I am biased as an influencer, but I think everything has to be collectively combined to have the greatest success. And yes, with certain influencers, could you bring them in and have a good success? Yes. But would it help to have everything at once? No. I mean, the more eyes, the better. It's like saying bad PR is still PR. It's like any PR is still PR, right?
Right. PR is a valuable tool.
Yeah.
My biggest beef with PR is that we as creators have got to stop giving them our work for free so that they take credit for it. Because what happens is a business hires a PR company and the PR company reaches out to all of us. They cast a wide net. I recently, I'm going to say the name too.
Oh gosh.
Emmett's Restaurant, Steakhouse, who I have a great relationship with the people inside the steakhouse. They've invited me in. I just haven't made time. I love the butter cake. I think it's better than Mastro's. It is.
Stop it right now.
It's the best butter cake in the world.
Okay, I've
It's
had
so
both.
good.
I've had
We're
both.
going now.
I
We're
don't-
going after
This
this.
is going to
Jenna-
be clipped, and we will actually put like some type of link in that after
Now.
you go, that we'll pin that to the top.
It is,
of
but
the
they have to
comments.
actually try both. It's the best. And the reason it's the best is because they make small ones.
Okay, I'll agree with
And
the
they
tiny.
caramelize all the edges so that you get that like crispy
I'm leaving.
turbinado sugar.
Goodbye, guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to go.
Yeah.
get
I
some
I
butter
just
cake.
went to
blame you.
Mastro's for our anniversary. That's why she looked at me. She
I
was
know,
like,
'cause
"Shut up,
you said
Because I
Cody."
love
best cake in the
Mastro's
world.
butter
It's so
cake.
good.
It's the
But
best.
Emmett's is really good, and they have a nice pasta with burrata cheese. Like it's,
I'll give
it's,
them the pasta was good.
It's really good. But I haven't gone in to make a video because I've been busy. But they have a PR company. And their PR company reached out and they said, we've done an assessment of your social media value. And I was like, that's awesome. I
I
can't
had
wait.
someone do this to me recently.
Yeah.
I was devastated. I cried.
I'll
It was
send
so
you
bad.
the whole chain because it was not nice. And they said, we have determined that you are worth 2 entrees, 2 cocktails,
outta here.
and a dessert shareable with your party. And I wrote back and I said, first of all, please remove me from all of your mailing list. Secondly, this is insulting and you are entirely out of touch with the market or reality. Not that I am worth more, but just the fact that they would come at me and say that.
I was just having a conversation with a friend, just sorry to interrupt really quick, that we were talking about the value of influencers literally yesterday. She has 8,000 followers. I asked her if it was okay if I talk about this. I won't say her name though, but she's 8,000 followers. She's a lifestyle kind of creator and she got paid $300 to do like this like kind of ad commercial and $300, 8,000 followers. The other day, I got told I wasn't even worth $100, and I'm substantially larger than that. And I get everyone has their different idea of what's worth it, but oh my God, I felt like crap. And that's not the same email thread I was talking about where they determined my worth through a marketing company, but another company said that. And I was like, it's crazy what people find like, it's crazy marketing companies that find different things of value and how they're going to find us of value.
Right. It's an out-of-state marketing firm that doesn't know any of us or understand what we do. And they're literally running it through like a third-party program and coming up with the metrics on like who has the biggest followings or whatever. And I wrote back and I said, let's say that I really wanted to eat at Emmett's and I didn't want to just go in and pay for it, which is what I would do. Why in the world would I work through this PR company so that when my video inevitably does really well for Emmett's, the PR company gets all the credit because they wrangled me. They got me, and they got me at a very low price of 2 entrees and a shareable dessert to come in and do this marketing. And I said, why would I do that? If I were going to accept this offer, which I'm not, I would just go to the restaurant. I would just walk in and pay the $150 so that I can not have to go through approval processes and disclosures and all of that. Or I'll just walk in and talk to the general manager or the hostess or anyone and say, I'm interested in covering this so that at least when the video does well, I get the credit for my work.
Yep.
As it is, they're paying $6,000 to $12,000 a month for that PR company to represent them. And all the PR company is doing is reaching out to legacy media like news stations, people like us, and just trying to get us to work for free. It's a brokering system. So we should just cut out the middleman and work with the companies we want to work with.
I've been here 13 years, and I worked for Greenspun Media Group for a while.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah. And was and then was in real estate for a while as a title rep, and now been doing this for the podcast for 2 years almost, but doing this full time for a little over a year.
Wow.
At 53 last year, made the jump to be a
Congrats.
1099. Scariest, most thank you. Scariest, most rewarding decision of my life.
I hope to get to that point.
And have been blessed with now, like, I'm engaged to a beautiful girl who's from northern Georgia. So it has
you got a Georgia peach?
Has the southern accent. I'm just like, swoon.
They
Like,
just
she's
got engaged on a
just
Cosmo balcony like 2 weeks ago.
from Jen. Thank you. From Jenny's suggestion, by the way. And she did.
Good
I did
job.
not pay her for
I was gonna
that.
say, who paid you?
There was no coupon code, so it got tracked back to Jen. So
check's in the mail.
again, fuck off, commenters. All I did was reach out to my friend who I love and adore, and I love her brain, to go, hey, this is the most amazing person in my life. I want to make it an amazing night for her. Can you please help me with some suggestions? And and then she's like, wraparound balcony at the Cosmo, go. You're welcome.
Well, he wanted to be in the middle of Vegas, but he also wanted it to be
beautiful.
private. And it's like,
that's
Didn't want
hard.
cast of
That's
thousands.
So hard.
Yeah.
That's a good suggestion.
Married
Yeah, it is.
before, didn't need or want the social media attention.
Yeah.
So went to Costco, got 5 dozen red roses, picked off the petals and made a heart on the bed,
Stop it.
and had
oh,
room
you did
service.
that?
Yeah.
I thought you hired that out. That looked really
cute.
good.
Thank
He's
you.
like,
Yeah.
I put the effort
Dude,
in.
I was like
Good.
laser
Go,
level,
Ben,
like
for
this point
putting
here,
him
this
out
No,
there.
it
point
looked
here,
really
the
good.
apex
Yeah.
of the arches of the
Yes.
heart. Like, and I'm ADHD. I can't draw a stick figure on a fucking cocktail napkin, but I did that goddamn heart like it's my
Amazing.
job. And we had room service, and then took her out to the balcony, and we just enjoyed the view, and then got down on one knee and asked her the question.
It's beautiful.
And she gasped. It was a surprise to her. And I was like, oh, I still cry about it because I love her so much. And she's just so pure and awesome. And it was an amazing time that because Jen helped with that. And I'm from upstate New York. I'm a big loyalty guy. I was raised by Roman Catholic Italians, man, even though I'm a Scotch, Irish, Jewish mutt. But Jen is one of my ride or dies because she helped me on one of the most amazing nights of my life. And after I proposed to her, went to the Chandelier Bar and got shit-faced. And it was fantastic. And then amazing sex on the balcony afterwards.
Yes.
It was great. I mean, you talk that way when you're in your 50s, by the way. You don't give a shit about it.
Did you know you can drive by the Cosmo on any night around 1 a.m. and just zoom in?
I'm sure.
And it's like Pornhub.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All
Yeah.
over.
I
like,
have never.
Everybody
it's
bones
a,
on the balcony.
dream.
Yeah.
That's like a must do.
You can,
when you
and
come out
if
here.
you're in one of the
Whoa.
towers,
Are the fountains going off as you're? Yeah.
Yeah,
it
but
goes
it's a whole
it's
thing.
differently when there's 75 couples doing it all at once.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
it's
Oh, damn.
hilarious.
Someone
and that's
should-
a little unwritten, unknown gem of
Our
was gonna
newest
say,
free
should we-
attraction.
for those
Should we make some content off of that?
coming soon with Jen with Vegas Starfish tips and tricks, the voyeurs package.
Do an yeah, no, you should do like an
Start a tour
OnlyFans
bus.
subscription only. Like you're just zooming into balconies. Like
I think you have to get releases signed.
But it was so
you
it
can
was
go up to the room after.
it was something that my friend Jen helped me on, arguably the best evening of my life.
Amazing.
And it was because of her knowledge as a content creator. I just reached out to her as a friend, and she got back to me and said, this is what we want to do, and it worked. It was an absolute grand slam home run.
Beautiful.
Now,
awesome.
thank you. And so getting back to the whole PR thing with that conversation is something that we talked about months ago on this podcast. To me, it comes down to how sticky are you with your audience, whether you're a content creator or you're a PR firm. If you're a PR firm, how can you merge from the client to their audience? Are you sticky enough with what you know to get your client's message to that audience? Because I know a few content creators now. I'm blessed to have this show and people come on and y'all know your audiences. You know, like I know, my audience is mostly male. They're 26 to 45 years old. 30% of them are here, and the rest of them are United States. Some in England, some in Canada. And I'm over
Nice.
10 million views a month, knock on wood, here and mostly it's my short form content.
Yeah.
It's what people are coming on for. But they come in, they get their fix, and they jump. And that's it. But it's the direct to consumer message is what a content creator has.
Yeah.
And you're taking out, like, again, I was at Greenspun for almost 5 years. I know it pretty well. And that's more of a machine. And you're a cog in the machine when you're there. And so for you to have TikTok live and you're talking and you're reading up a teleprompter or whatever, and you're like, Okay, bitches, back to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, that is, to me, it's something I'm talking to Scott here, the engineer, about starting to do some live streams here.
Yeah.
And
Breaking
make
that,
sure
though, you breaking
everyone's
that
cool with it,
wall.
and
Fourth
have a monitor set up off camera that when people can actually become engaged as we are talking
With
live in the
questions and
podcast
stuff,
studio
yeah.
with questions
that's a
for
good idea.
guests.
Because
That'd be
people
so
have
cool.
people have questions about the story. Because, like you said, we get a press release, but it's a 20-second read.
Right.
So for more, go to such and such.com,
Right.
which they're not going to do
No.
because people don't like to read, right? So they're not going to go and get more information. So then when the camera cuts off and they're like, oh, Renee, what was that story about? Okay, here's their phone number. Just go ahead and hit them up or whatever. I know such and such. Yeah, they're real cool or whatever. Or if I hear a story and I'm like, did y'all hear that shit? Wild.
Yeah.
This is
So
what we're
great.
doing.
That's so great.
Because people just love that because they love the authenticity. And I think that's what PR companies are missing. We're not a one size fits all.
No.
They need to, the same way they custom tailor their packages for their clients, they need to do the same with influencers.
For sure.
If I have a Black owned business, I'm not going to call respectfully a bunch of white influencers to come and
You're
represent
not calling
that.
Drew to come in.
And I mean,
Even though
Drew
he's a-
would be great.
But
No,
monster
Drew
audience,
would be
and
amazing.
he's hilarious.
He's hilarious. Everyone's amazing.
But in the first second I see that video talking about a Black-owned business,
Right, you're gonna be like,
am I gonna, if I am a person of color, first time I've ever said that in my entire life, by the
Right.
way, because I'm as white as fucking Wonder
Congratulations.
Bread. Yeah, thank you. Jesus Christ.
That's why it's
If
important
you
to have Black
Google
friends.
Wonder Bread, this comes up right here. Like, this is the headshot that comes up. But if I see, again, I'm picking on you, Drew, but I love you. If I see Drew Belcher's head come up with his beautifully coiffed mullet
Man.
and his sharp wit and all that, that's
How
not
do you
relating
relate?
to me.
How do I relate?
How to relate rather than seeing a person of color.
Right.
Then I'm more in. Well, it's just like how, it was on The Simpsons or something, like where they'd have like the Asian reporter, Takanawa.
Trisha Takanawa.
Trisha talking about it's hilarious, but it's fucking true.
But you know what? She says that, and it sounds like she's just taking a stance because she is a person of color and a content creator. But we had a massive brand, like one of the biggest brands in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say who, but they do a lot of Super Bowl halftime shows.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
And they came in and they did, was it during Black History Month?
Yep.
And they did a massive campaign and they reached out to people to support, I believe it was Black owned businesses. And these campaigns were paying well, like $5,000 to $20,000 per video, depending on what they were. And I don't know if it was you or your husband that reached out to me, but one of you reached out and said, did this company, I almost said their name, reach out to you? And I was like, yeah, they did. I'm working with them on this and that and the other. And you pointed out to me that they're doing a Black History Month push, and they did not work with any.
They didn't work with us.
Black creators.
So the email that we got was, this is what we're doing for Black History Month, and we're reaching out to influencers to spotlight Black-owned businesses for Black History Month. What is your price? Which I hate because I know you have a budget.
Right.
And if I tell you my price, that next email is going to go, well, thank you so much. We'll use you again for another. No, tell me your budget.
Right.
Because
I'll work with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I might need the money.
Right. And I want this on my resume.
And I want this on my resume.
Yeah.
Or
So
this
we
matters
say
to me.
this is a widely known company. Y'all can afford 5Gs. Y'all can afford that.
Yeah. Oh,
we
for
can
sure.
do 2 videos, 1 video. Y'all got that? Nothing. Crickets. So now, and then it was like, oh, we'll basically, it's not you, it's us. We'll get you for the next round.
Right.
Whatever. So we were really disappointed about that. We were even more disappointed when we saw the videos that the content creators were making. Again, not that we don't love all of you, but like none of the content creators during that were, I think there was 1 or 2 brown creators. Everyone else was white.
Right. It was like,
So it was
there was
just
one
like,
Asian creator and a Latina creator, but no Black creators.
But no Black creators. And I was just like in shock, like, and here's the thing, like, and my husband has been in the game longer than I have as far as like content creating and influencing. But like, there is no event that we would go to that is heavily Black that we do not get noticed at. Oh, hey, CB, Renee. So we know that the community that we serve is watching, and they love
great.
us.
That's great, by the way.
When we don't get these authentically Black opportunities.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah,
Like,
to be fair, I should not, even though I am one of the larger creators in the market, I shouldn't be hired for a Black History Month campaign.
No, you should not.
I was reached out to by a major political candidate who wanted me to come and represent the Latina community in a town hall. And I was like, why the fuck would you reach out to me? Like,
No bueno.
disrespectful. I said, I'm taking away a position that a Spanish-speaking
exactly.
Latina woman should be filling.
Right.
And I said, you're giving it to me because I have the biggest reach.
or at least bring us with you, right? Like, if you get the opportunity, I don't want to see a video with you and all of your non-Black friends at the restaurant eating food, because that's what we saw. And we was like, damn, you could have called us. We could have at least been in the video.
Right, okay.
Like,
So
you know?
go up to the 150,000 foot level, all right? Full disclosure, I own a digitally strategic advisory firm, and I'm not a coach. I advise people on what to do, and I show people how to do video and all this stuff, because I'm a canary in the coal mine. I've done now 74 podcast episodes and have a decent following, and thank you. And so
cool.
Yeah.
But it is something that you have to look at where they're coming from. And I think we are seeing a tectonic shift in how things are being marketed now. Things meaning personal brands, politicians, restaurants, everything, because a lot of them don't fucking get it. Tell me off camera, because I'm dying to know. Like, does it rhyme with Mikey? And so I'm curious because
it rhymes with not Coke.
perfect. I love you
Good
so
job,
much.
Jen.
I fucking love you
Good
so
job,
much.
Jen.
Jesus
Never get another
Christ.
brand.
Good job,
I
Jen.
love you.
Good job, Jen.
You know what, though?
But you know what? They
You
need to
should
hear
get a
it.
fucking brand.
Yeah.
You should be getting a brand, because if you're outing these people that aren't getting it, the ones that do get it are the ones that'll reach out to you.
Right. Well,
That's
and
the
there are
thing.
companies that are starting to get it. And I didn't understand the importance of representation fully until, and I may have already had this conversation with you, but I went to see the new Little Mermaid movie. And I went with my two little boys who are blonde hair, blue-eyed little boys. I'm going to cry telling this story. And there was another mom sitting next to me, and she had two Black little girls with her. And when Ariel came on the screen for the first time, one of the little girls gasped and said, "She's so beautiful." And the mom started crying, and then I started crying.
Don't start. I'm going to start crying.
And then my oldest child, who grew up in Vegas, which is very diverse, like the love of his life currently in the 5th grade is, I think she's Vietnamese. I'm not sure.
God bless.
But but last year there was a girl from Israel that he was in love with. Before that it was Uzbekistan. It's a very diverse school system. And Carter looked at me and he said, "That's why it's important that everyone gets to see
Wow,
themselves."
and you recognized it.
And I started sobbing, and
It just means you're raising good kids.
Good for you,
that's
mom.
right. That
Good
too.
for you,
Yeah.
mom.
Because
He
Jen's kind of
really-
amazing.
Oh, thank you. He really got it, though, and I think that that's something that as content creators we have to take a stand for, because, like, yes, reach and numbers are important, but like your audience, I don't know the demographics on your audience, because I don't think any of our things break it down by race, but I am certain that you have more of a Black following than Cody or I would, because people want someone that represents their interest and taste. So if you're speaking to that market, you should be the obvious hire.
Exactly.
Same with Latina, like representing the Latina community or Latino community. Las Vegas Chica's Yuvia.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what her breakdown is, but I'm certain she's got more Spanish speaking, because I don't speak Spanish. She does, you know?
Right.
So it's just the brands need to kind of get on board and say, well, 200,000 followers that are niche specific have more power than 1.6 million that are middle Americans from Oklahoma. You know what I mean? Like
The people that are going to have an evergreen position for a job are the ones that are in representing big brands, and they get it in terms of, this is who we have to hire for content creators.
Yep.
Like when a Schmepsi comes to town and says, we're going to hire for Black History Month, everybody except for, maybe two or three open positions out of 100 maybe, and those people will be Black. Everyone else is going to be everything else. No, it should be the other way around.
And I think Heather just
For
made a good
relatability.
point, because it was on your profile. She said that when you're looking, like businesses are looking, you can look at engagement and you can see what is happening than just their followers. Because I think a lot of marketing companies go off following, which is fine. Very unique way to do it. But You could go off more.
You're so good,
Yeah,
by
I
the
was
way.
going to say, girl, you're nice.
Listen to me.
That's not it.
Listen, I know that inside of you is like this little, you've like the devil and the angel.
She's really like this
here,
all the time, though. She's
and
really
you've got this
sweet.
like perfect little thing going on. Baby girl, let it fucking fly.
And her husband to be is a firefighter, and they've been together since infancy.
Dear
Oh,
God.
it's amazing.
Look at, I'm going to say something right now. Let it fly because, again, I'll say
It
it.
got hot. I'm probably red.
It's okay. I know, and your toes are curling up, but I'm telling you, I will provide air cover for all of you. That when people come in, they're going to come in the comments. There's going to be stuff that don't agree with you. Like a samurai, man. I pull out a fucking Hatari Hanzo katana and slice them in half.
You're so funny.
They're fucking gone.
I think, listen, I will say this in a weird way. I was president of a sorority of 120 girls. You learn to talk so you don't get shit talked.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, I had to learn. I was a girl in high school that people didn't like because I would just say what was on my mind. I was very blunt. Like, this morning, I was even having a conversation with Charlie, and he's like, you got to make sure you're not talking like this on the podcast because people are going to find out really quick that you can be not so kind. And I think I learned that it's better to just be at a neutral stance because, like I said earlier, like my opinion's not all that matters. Like I have an opinion and I'm kind of voicing it, but I'm not going to be like slashing tires over here because, like, honestly, it's not my position. I just don't want to.
I respectfully disagree with Charlie. Okay,
be a shark.
And
be a shark.
It could be on my age or whatever, or just I've gotten a bit shaved. I'm sure he's not 54, right?
Charlie's our unofficial mascot. We all love Charlie.
Okay,
yeah, I was gonna say Jen's gonna defend Charlie. She's like, I love Charlie.
I think that the more vulnerable you are,
yeah, for sure,
the more relatable you're going to be to maybe a smaller audience, but that audience is your ride or die. Okay, and I've seen it with stuff that we put out.
Jen too, yeah.
Right, Jen's audience would cross an ocean of fire for her. Full stop.
Some of them.
Full stop.
Some of them might start it. Right.
Yeah.
Some of them might be putting kerosene along Lake Mead. But I think that when you start to double down on you,
an opinion, yeah,
then especially like on an individual post, if you're like, I love this, and you could say opinions vary, time will tell, food is perspective.
You made a good point though. Like I think it comes with age, right? Like I'm not 30, I'm 29, and so I am still at the point where I'm still finding myself, right? Like I told you guys very honestly, like I came out of college wanting to be in medical school. Like this was not my first choice and position, and being resilient has gotten me to where I am and time again. But I just think that you're 100% correct. Like with age, I think you become more like, I don't give a fuck. Like this is who I am and this is who I'm going to be. Take it or leave it. And I think right now I'm at a position where I'm like, I'm still growing and learning myself. And I don't even know who to, I can't tell you to fuck off because I don't even know me.
You absolutely can tell me to fuck off though.
No,
That's the thing.
No,
but
like,
the thing is that
I can't. Like I don't even know me enough to do that.
As soon as you're at the position where you don't care about what other people say or think about you,
Can't wait.
It is this moment of clarity and you're breathing rarefied air when you get to that point, because the only people that could really crush me is my fiance and my kids. That's it. And my dad. That's it.
Do you know who was a great one to see come into this? Like, I think everyone knows who Keith Lee is at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Which he's no longer with us. He has left Vegas.
What?
I don't know if it's public where he lives, but he has bought a beautiful home in a beautiful community, not anywhere near here.
Good for him, though.
Good for him. Absolutely good for him.
Yeah. So if you dig around, you can figure out where. But he's doing very well. But he's no longer in Vegas. But Keith kind of came in like from his Paw Patrol chair talking about, this is what I like. It's great or it's not great. And then he kind of went through this moment where he would start every video with like, these are my taste. You might not agree with me. Please don't come for the business. Please don't leave negative reviews. And now he's sort of evolved to a place of like, I am who I am. Like, this is my content. Take it or leave it. And it's been refreshing to see because it is hard.
Because you can't fight everyone.
No,
you can't. You can't make everyone happy. You can't fight everyone. And you will get to a point where like you're not perfect. And that's what people will love about you the most. Is that you're not perfect.
I always reply to comments as much as I can. Like you guys will see it when this stuff goes out. But for the first time ever, I had and now we're good friends, a porn star here in town, Rochelle Ryan, and she's like 3.9 million.
I just saw this.
Nice. Is she the one that works at the Temu Spearmint Rhino?
She's doing an event tonight at the Peppermint Hippo.
Yeah,
and
it's the Wish version of Spearmint Rhino.
Yes. She's a Trumper through and through. My thing is, and I've said before, I'm registered independent. If you're a Democrat and you want to come on this show and we jive, yes. You're given a soft place to land. We have an open and honest conversation.
I actually think that's really on brand.
Yeah.
You know, that's just me. That I might challenge you as I challenge her with stuff, but the comments, and I mean, the one is that, again, I run the numbers. I'm a big ChatGPT guy, and I figured out her audience, my audience. It's got to be with organic views in a reel. It's got to be between 100 and 300,000. No, 150 between 300. Right now it's at 260. So it's in the high level of average performing. Most people will see it and go, oh my God, that's viral. No, for someone with her audience, because she's at 3.9 million, it's got to be at 1 million views for that to be viral. So I run the numbers, and we'll see. We'll get in a little chat, and
what do you consider viral? 100K?
I was just going to ask.
It all depends on the audience, because mine I'm at 25 or 26,000 on Instagram. So it's 100,000.
Right.
I'm at 30 or 35 on TikTok. 100,000. If there's no collab invite and no one has shared it.
Yeah.
And also, what I do is I'll add you as collaborators. You don't have to accept it. It's okay if you don't. I don't want to clog your feet up. And nor if there's something that I'm adding as a collab that's not on brand for you, you will not offend me if you don't accept it. If there's something where you're speaking only and it's part of this podcast, you're not going to be tagged or added as a collaborator.
Right.
Yeah.
To me, that's just common social media courtesy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just what you do. And so, but I'm a numbers nerd.
I love that.
Screw Pornhub. Give me Google Sheets. Give me a CSV file. Rows, columns, and cells, man.
That's what turns you on?
Talk nerdy to me. That's my jam. And so I help my clients with that, because that went viral. Well, no, it didn't, because the person I'm on as a collaborator, she has almost 4 million organic followers.
Yeah.
So if it's at 250,000 views, that's just an average performing post.
Right.
People don't see that. They just see the numbers. Or no, you got to get more into look at the engagement.
The nitty gritty.
My average engagement now, I'm at 7%, which is 1.5 times the industry standard for news and entertainment for podcasts.
I never thought of it as a scale, because you know how
we've talked about viral posts, and I think in the food community what would you say?
I'd say 1 million.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think everyone in the food community despite your size, I will never get told for my size my viral video is 100 to 200 to 500,000.
Yeah.
We would only say my video is viral if it's 1 million.
I think of it
so
do you know
weird.
how broke scales? When you're in your 20s and you have $10 to your name, you're like, I can go out tonight.
Yes.
When you're in your 40s
so true.
and you have $5,000 in your bank account, you're like, ooh, I gotta rein it in, because the amount of money changes.
Exactly.
I feel like that it's with your growth. So when you're a baby creator and you hit 1 million views, you're like, oh my God, I've won the lottery. And then you get to a point where if you're not hitting 1 million pretty regularly, you're like, I am a failure.
I want to talk to you about something that you probably don't think about very often, but need to, and that's life insurance. Anthony Vacara at Valhalla Solutions is a friend. I'm also a client. And what he's done for me has been life-changing in terms of where I'm at in my life and my physically how I feel and how I am to make changes, because I've gotten additional life insurance. I've used him. He's fantastic. He gives a shit, which is amazing to me. I'm not just another number. He's reached out to me about my testing, how I didn't do that well on some of the tests, and how I need to make wholesale changes in my life. I'm doing it now because of Anthony's guidance, and I've got the life insurance and going to go back and get better rates, hopefully in a year or so. But I know I needed more life insurance with stuff that's happened in my life and with people that I want protected and covered that I love, so they don't worry about anything financially when I leave this earth, which is something everyone is going to be facing. I highly recommend that you contact Anthony Vacara, Valhalla Solutions, and have a conversation with him as soon as you can. Well, your friend that has 8,000 followers. For her to post something and it gets 75,000 views, that's viral for her.
Yeah, that
makes
huge.
sense.
Yes, that does. I've never thought about it like that.
So if and when you ever have questions about it, text me.
I'm going to.
And I can run the numbers within seconds and get back to you to go, and I'll just do a copy and paste because I have a great prompt.
All my videos are viral. That's what I want.
So then what would be, so if you're quick, what would be viral for me? I mean, on Instagram, I'm 70,000 right now. 70,000 followers. So what would be
10,
considered?
So 10 times that is would be seven. You're looking like 700,000. So I'd say $750,000 to $1 million.
I'm forever saying I'm viral.
Yeah.
All the time. I'm gonna be like, I'm a freaking viral
I'm going to
masterpiece.
change my bio to
Mastermind.
always
But
viral.
remember, I use 3 different classifications for content for myself and my clients. I say, here's average, here's outperforming, and here's viral.
I love that.
Is what I do, and I do the same for my clients.
That would be amazing for you to do for marketing.
my
Like,
clients.
no,
I'm
not
just
even for
gonna tell them I'm
clients.
always
Well, then you can go.
According to Jeff Fargo, always
And
viral.
that could be like,
put that in,
it could be,
like, quotes.
Just change your name to
and
always
have
viral.
a slice of Wonder Bread with 2 eyes and a mouth, and say it's Jeff
Always
Fargo.
viral Vegas.
Right.
But the thing
That's a
is
good
that you
title.
can actually go in if you have a press kit set up, and you could say, of my content for 2024, X% performed regular, X% outperformed, X% went viral based on this scale of criteria. You give that to a PR company, their heads are going to explode.
I'm
They're
going
not
to change
doing
my
that.
packet to say I'm worth 2 entrees and a shareable dessert.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
open to your offer.
But I'm open
And
to
I'm always viral.
Right.
So your 2 entrees are going to go far.
Again, the data
I might
doesn't
need
lie.
that number breakdown. I might need to
The
hit
data
you up.
doesn't lie. You can see who pays for followers. You can see who pays for reviews.
Yeah.
You can see who pays for comments. If it's a bunch of Sri Lankan people say with fire emojis,
no
they're
disrespect
paid for.
to Sri
Yeah.
Lanka.
No,
And they'd be lucky if they get
love my
that.
Sri Lankans. God bless. But it's like, no, that's a server farm in Pakistan or India or wherever, is where most of them are.
Yeah.
And it's fake. It's fake.
Yeah,
So instead, it's more about organic stuff. It's about engagement. It's about comments that are real, comments you're touching. If you want to know the ethnicity or race of your audience, look at the comments. Look at the people. Like when
but they all have pictures of like a cat or a pumpkin, and then I have to go dig around on their profile.
Well, like when I had on one of my favorite content creators
no
in town,
idea.
Brandon Johnson, Brandon from Vegas. Shout out to
I love
Brandon.
Brandon.
Love him. If you don't love Brandon, go fuck off. Something's wrong with
He
you.
just sent me a message and asked me to have lunch with him, and I was
He's
like,
the
"What have I
best.
done? What's wrong?" And he's like, "Nothing. I just want to like hang out with you." And I was
He
like,
is just one of the sweetest guys
He
ever.
is. He's so genuine.
We have my number 1 clip. He ranked top 3 strip joints in town.
Chica's
Yes.
Bonitas.
Chica's Bonitas is number 1. A lot of people said you had me at thick with like 3 C's. Latinas. So, and my reply back is always the Latina dancing girl emoji.
Right.
I would just do that, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, cheap Coronas," and they're like, "How dare you? What about the crazy horse?" So I'm like, and again, perspective.
Yep.
But it's at 5 million views.
It's great.
It's at 5 million views. I don't care who you are. That's viral.
The thing is,
That is
though, is
viral.
you're
That's
always
viral.
going to get more engagement when you're either negative, controversial, or sexual, or political, or religious, or tacos, pizza, and burgers. If you go in and say this is the best pizza, the best tacos or burger, people will kill themselves trying to tell you that you're wrong.
Oh, 100%.
Because they have strong opinions on it. And you mentioned earlier that I went into rooms and did the black light thing. I had to suspend that for a little while because my kids were home for the summer and we were traveling a lot and doing stuff. So I couldn't go film, 2 hotel rooms a night without them. And I'm not going to take them into a room that I expect to be dirty and be like, okay, kids, let's have a slumber party, But I am resuming that here real soon. But I have always taken the stance that bed bugs can be in any hotel because they come in on humans. If you go back to my first video on bed bugs 3 years ago, it's always been like this could happen at Caesar's Palace. It could happen at Aria. It can happen at Fontainebleau. Literally anywhere where a human
Four
sleeps.
Seasons.
Right, 4 Seasons.
Like, it could happen anywhere.
Because you can pick it up at Starbucks and take it into a room. That's not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is filth, cleaning, not coming in and cleaning properly. And it's not related to budget or luxury. You can stay in a very cheap hotel room and the room can be very clean because people can take pride in their work at any economic level. But I also got to the point where I realized that series would hurt people's feelings sometimes too, because when they would hear that I haven't done Excalibur, so we'll say Excalibur, that Excalibur was not up to their expectations and that's their budget, they would feel bad because that's where they have to stay and now they feel like they can't afford to stay at a place that might be cleaner or nicer. But those videos do well because it's controversial.
You're being
how do you
honest.
control that too?
Yes.
You can't control how people feel. And if
can't
that's their
control that.
budget, then guess what? I'm bringing extra wet naps. I'm bringing extra Lysol.
Get in there.
I'm making sure I'm checking the mattress because if that's all I can afford, then we know I might need to do my own little clean
That's a good
before. And
point,
even
yeah.
in the nicer places, me and my husband say it, really nice places. he will Lysol the bed, the phone, the remote, because
which is brilliant.
Because it don't matter.
Well, you're staying in a place where other people have body fluid.
Period.
Yeah.
And who's to say someone who can afford a Fountain Blue Suite ain't dirty?
Right,
well, Charlie and I too, when we used to travel, I mean, we started traveling when we were 19 and we didn't have any money. Like Charlie was working at the rec center and we were going like our trips had to be under like $400. This is a hotel included, food included, gas included. Like we were doing budget travel to the max, okay? Like for 4 days, $100 a day. So we were staying in some pretty bad hotels. And we would do that. Like we would just talk to my parents about that this place, which I will say the name, it's Crystal Cove. We love it. We just got engaged there. It's in Newport Beach. I'm obsessed with the place. I wish I could get married
Newport
there.
Beach.
It's not going to work out. But their places are not 5-star luxury places. They're very affordable. They go through reservecalifornia.com. It's like camping, right? And when we stayed there, we stayed in a $50 dorm room. Okay, yeah. This is a really long time. Actually, I would still stay there, but $50 dorm room, and there were ants in the bed, in the shower, and everywhere. And you couldn't go to the front desk because the front desk leaves. And we had to go next door to our little dorm mate, and we had to be like, hey, what do you do for ants? And she was a really, really, really kind older lady. And she was like, I have some Windex, and I bring it so I can spray the ants. Oh. And we sprayed every ant in that room. But the point of my thing is, with budget travel, like, you're right, people, like, we didn't have the option. Like, I wanted to stay next door at, I believe it's Pelican Hill or Montage in Laguna. Like, duh, everyone wants to stay at $1,000 a night place. But we didn't have the budget, and you just have to go with what you can afford, and you have to bring the resources that allow you to do it. Like, I literally told Charlie, next time we go, we're bringing Windex.
Well, and what are you traveling for, right? If you're traveling to lay your head down, then is one thing. Yeah. But if you're traveling, like especially to Vegas, we met a guy who was from New York, and he was just like, I'm just chilling. That people really want to enjoy the hotel, the amenities, the spa. Yes. So you may spend more money because you want those nice high-end amenities. But if you're going to be out and about and barely at the hotel, then it's understandable why like certain things won't matter as much.
And we just stayed at another hotel too in Newport, and it was crap. We called the manager and we told him, and I put it in my video. I didn't say the name, but in the review of Newport and Laguna, I said I will not say the name because it was so bad. I don't even want to give people the name of the hotel so it's even in their interest. This is like 5 months ago. Like I don't even want it on their brain.
Cody,
it's crazy.
Do you know how you can afford to go to Laguna and stay at any property you want?
How?
Market yourself better for Black History Month. Hello? Have you been listening to anything we're talking about?
Hello?
Hey, you listen to anything we're talking about here? You're
good.
probably whiter than me. Like they should be fawning over you. How
funny.
dare
Is there
you?
anything
How dare
whiter
you
than
say
Wonderloaf?
How dare you sell yourself short and have ants in your room? Get marketing to these companies that need somebody for Black History Month and the content creator.
Help me, I'm poor.
I do want to say I've never inspected a room at Excalibur that I picked them randomly. I low-key love the castle. I worked there for years. So I wasn't like hating on the castle at all because I know people, they get attached to their resorts.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to hate on anyone. But I guess my point of that is that, you know, a dirty room isn't necessarily tied to a cheap room. And luxury isn't necessarily tied to an expensive room. I just stayed in Manhattan for a week. I paid $900 on average a night for my hotel room, and it was a shoebox.
Oh.
Where'd you stay?
Hilton Garden Inn on 54th. It was fine, but I was right down from Central Park, right down from Times Square. It was beautiful. I just went to eat pizza, but it literally, my closet at home is larger than the hotel room.
Welcome to New York.
It was tiny, but it was clean. Elevators took forever. We took the stairs more than we took the elevators, you know. But in Vegas, if I were to stay at a property here, I'm more like the person you mentioned. I want to chill. I want a nice room. I want it to be beautiful. I want it to feel nice, you know. So everyone has different needs.
100%.
Well, we get spoiled living here. Like we go in, like we had a wonderful suite at the Cosmo when I proposed to Brandy.
I bet they didn't clean that balcony.
However, well, nor should they. Let me tell you. Talk about that later. But again, we get used.
Just Lysol the balcony.
We get then I would get a deck sprayer of rubbing alcohol.
Yeah,
and
bring
just
all
spray
the
that
wet
whole
wipes
fucker
that you
down,
can
man.
find and wipe down the balcony.
Just glows like a Christmas tree.
Little things that got me is you go in, the curtains don't open automatically like Aria or like or like at Waldorf Astoria, which is my favorite property on the Strip.
Love it.
You had to manually open.
Never stayed there.
I had to manually
Charlie
open
used to
up the
work there.
curtains. and a wraparound suite. And this is at the Cosmo, just food for thought, Cosmo. Another one was their room service. You had to call. You couldn't go online and go right from a lot of it's not from TV because boop, 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 boop. This is what we want. Nope. Had to call them and do it. It was just a little behind the times, just a little bit. But you recognize anybody else would go there and be like, this is amazing.
Right.
I would give that room a 8 out of 10.
I think the Cosmo needs a little bit of a lift.
I would agree.
I think Cosmo's
needs
a
little
sex
bit of a
hotel.
lift.
Like the balcony, the bathtubs.
It's also a younger age hotel. Like
Right.
everyone
yes.
who comes from out of the state that I know is like, yeah, I want to stay at the Cosmo. Like it's meant for your early to mid 20s, I feel like. And yes, of course, like that comes with.
Yeah. Speaking of room service, Venetian.
No, you don't think?
What do you say? That's what it comes with? Like you talking about the balcony sex?
Yeah, I'm saying like it's a sexy hotel, right? Like
okay.
people want to
I
go
actually
because
think
it's like a
older
Because I was
having
going to say
sex on
older
balconies,
people are
They are.
older people.
They are.
Older people don't.
I think it's
They are.
everyone.
Just
They
like
are.
you said,
Everyone should sit on the
you're
balcony.
very careful about what you say because age plays a role. When you get older, you really don't give a fuck. So you don't
Then
care who sees you.
why
You
are
don't
all
care.
Absolutely
older
right.
people doing OnlyFans then? Like you guys should get on the money.
I don't
Well,
know.
because
that idea.
OnlyFans.
Right? If you don't
because-
care, make some money and then donate to me.
No, that's different because OnlyFans, people are paying to see
Right.
young, firm, all
Yeah.
of that. People don't necessarily want to watch older people have sex, but I will
Okay.
say I have a concierge service. People pay for my number. They can text me anytime with questions. I've got about 20,000 people that have purchased the service over 4 years.
Congrats.
Thank you.
That's huge.
They don't all text at once, thankfully.
Yes.
But the young people, it's always where and I define young as 21 to 29.
Okay.
And then I kind of typical would be 30 to 45. And then my older clients, I would go north of 45. So the young people, they're like, where can we find a cool party brunch? Where can we find a cool club? We want a club crawl. We want to do this and the other. The people in their 30s, it's usually questions related to small children, or they want they have a little bit more money. They want a couples spa experience or whatever. The older people, it's drugs and sex.
Yep.
No way.
They're like, I just got this couple, and I don't want to give too much information because they're new clients and they might listen to this. But they're like, we've been married for 40 years, and she signs every message to me with "God bless you" and a prayer. And the first thing they asked for was a risque show where they can see both boobs and penises. And
okay.
and
My.
they want a wild sexual experience.
Alrighty.
And when I was like, can you define wild? Because it could be sex on a balcony, or it could be
The green door.
10 new friends.
Did you say the green door?
Yeah. 10 new friends. And she was like, she's like, we don't know. We've been married a long time. We want to do just the two of us, not with other people. But
Okay.
we want to do something wild. And I was like, Love Cloud, go out.
Oh
Love
my
Cloud.
God.
I had
That
sex
sounds
in
awesome.
an airplane.
I got
Yeah.
back when I was at Greenspun.
And you've been married for 40 years. You got to turn it up a notch a couple times a year. You feel me?
But older people are more liberal about their sexuality,
Yeah.
and this is they're not necessarily saying they want to go out and pick up strangers or
Right.
whatever, but they're more like, we've done everything.
That's what I'm saying though. As you get older, you I'm still not in that.
It's a comfort level.
Yeah,
and you
right,
hear less
right,
about the parts being floppy.
Well,
and,
Gen X, I came into my sexuality in the 80s. I graduated high school in 87. I'll be 55 this month. And it's been there, done that. So it's more about, yes, you're looking to kick it up, but it's also much more also who you're with.
Yeah.
It's your partner. And that if this is your
it's a place of trust.
this is my safe harbor. Is Brandy McCowan is my safe person that I could do anything and anything with, and she loves and appreciates me.
I bet you get a $250 room charge on.
I did
Okay.
to clean up the rose petals.
Oh no, I was just for the balcony.
Oh, the balcony?
We
No,
didn't do
they
this.
they just said general cleanup was but it was not. It was 247. It was a weird number that they had, and that was because we picked up the rose petals, but there's still some.
Oh, yeah.
There was some staining in the sheets of rose petals, and so just because you're kind of just doing some stuff in there, and
all
so
of it.
but you do all the things because you're in love, and it's why not? And I'm going to pay for that experience, and we're not, it's all positive. And I'm deeper in love with her now because of that evening.
Oh.
So
Did you know that the balconies are also used for nefarious purposes? Ladies, entrepreneurial women, will find new friends downstairs, and they will drug them and go up to their room, and they will get the gentleman to wait for them out on the balcony under the pretense of balcony sex, and then they will lock them out there, usually without pants on, and they'll rob them, and then they'll leave. Yeah. And so at least a few times a week, you'll see people on the balcony.
Right, I've actually experienced
trapped out there, and security has to come let them in. It's really embarrassing.
So
we've heard these stories a lot on. I've told a lot of these stories on the news of men that pick up women here. Yeah. There was one where a man met a young lady. They went out to dinner, and they were supposed to go to a show after. And so they went to the show, and she goes, oh, well, his first mistake was come to my room so you can put all your belongings in the safe so you don't have to worry about anything.
No.
That was his first mistake. They went out to dinner. They get to the show. She goes, oh, my God, I forgot something. She said she had to go to the bathroom. That's basically what let me go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. And he's looking at his watch, and he's like, she's not back yet. Half an hour goes by. She's still not back yet. He goes around where the bathroom is. She's nowhere to be found. Yeah, because she went back to the hotel to rob your ass.
Clean them out.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to take her to put your stuff in the safe like a dumbass.
It's a whole thing.
But it's a whole thing.
Rolling.
But the ladies, again, not very educated because there's cameras everywhere and every place you're walking. So yeah, they caught her in like a day. They always get caught.
Yeah.
Too many cameras.
What's it called? Trick rolling?
Trick rolling.
Trick rolling.
I didn't know there was a term for it.
Yeah, and it's largely unreported because the issue is with you as a gentleman, if you report it, you're also going to get arrested for the solicitation. Right. So, and then not to mention there's going to be like a paper trail and your wife's going to find out.
Exactly.
And
yeah,
else.
don't have a wife.
So they just don't tell anyone. So it happens all the time. And I tell gentlemen, especially my clients when they message me, if you're sitting in a bar and a woman that would never talk to you in your hometown comes up and talks to you, she's working. Like your stock doesn't go up because you're in Vegas. Kindergarten teachers aren't just roaming around waiting to get buck wild.
Oh yeah, you see them a lot at the Wynn.
Yeah,
because I'm a Wynn girly. I love staying at the Wynn.
Yeah.
But yeah, anytime you go to any of those bars and you see some of the girlies walk in, I'm like, yeah, she on the clock.
I had a guy come on, David Lindbergh, who used to work security. He was on like the MGM SWAT team. But also did Win Encore, did stuff for them, and he told some stories. And it's one of my most watched TikTok video is where's the best place to get a hooker at the Win? And first of all, I'm getting hit with okay boomer saying hooker. I'm like, well, fuck yourself. I am. First of all, it's Gen X, but I should say sex worker.
Whereas you said entrepreneur.
But it was highly watched because of two reasons. One, talking about that, and he was open. He's like, oh, the B bar, Baccarat bar, I guess is the place to go at the Wynn to get a friendly girl.
Which bar?
The B bar.
Oh, okay.
I see it at the Carousel. The Encore one over
Carousel
by High
bar.
Limit. Carousel too, but yeah.
And then the other one is in that video, in that clip I mentioned, I've been either here or coming here for years. My favorite place to go have a drink used to be the Circle Bar at the Hard Rock. Mm-hmm. That was the place, man. Back in the day, you go to the Joint for a concert, Circle Bar was the shit. I got more positive comments from people, Vegas nostalgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you could hear someone's conversation all the way across because of the way the acoustics were. And we used to go there and play the game. Is she a working girl or is she just being friendly? Was the game we played.
Rehab is my Hard Rock nostalgia. Rehab was the go-to.
Rehab. We used to go to Pink Taco and go out kind of like outside part of it. And the best people watching ever is when Rehab was letting out.
Oh man,
someone said Pink Taco's coming back.
Wrecked.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard that the Pink Taco's coming back. I heard that Circle Bar is going to be. They're putting one in at the new Hard Rock, which would it's not going to be the same, but
no.
But that type of sex gets people content, but also what I'm seeing because Vegas is a global brand. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's so many people that have either lived here and they left, but almost the entire world has at least visited here or heard of Vegas. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about Vegas nostalgia, that does very, very, very well in a positive way. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people went to the Circle Bar when it was at the Hard Rock. And to this day, to me, it's the best, gaming facility that had it served alcohol.
Yeah.
There's none better than the Circle Bar. It was the shit.
And now it's balcony sex.
Yeah.
And now we've evolved to balcony
nostalgia.
Sex, which is hilarious. So to finish stuff up, I want to ask each of you this question. It is, what is it that gets you out of bed in the morning to want to create content?
Wow, that's a good question because every day is different and motivation is different every day, I'm sure, for all of us. I think for me, it's because I feel like I try to be more authentic with who I am and not really worry about if something's gonna go viral or anything, and just really connecting with my followers is just, again, getting up every day and being my authentic self. Yeah. Like, people love watching me go walk my dog and talk shit on my stories. Like, and this is just a normal thing I do every day. I walk Kofi every morning. I go to the gym. People like to see my routine. They like to see my authenticity. They like to connect with me. And with getting out of the industry, starting my own podcast, starting my own stuff, I think that is just motivation for me to just keep going, keep doing what I'm doing, and knowing that I have not only followers, but followers that are going to follow me until I'm done with this, and really just, I mean, I have 130,000 friends. Yeah. That's how I look at it, and some people don't like it. Some people disagree with me. I've done some stuff that people are just like, or they try to come for me, but like, my followers got me. So I just want to continue doing that. I think that's what motivates me every day. Just another day to connect with my friends and be authentically myself.
I love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Cody?
That was how do you even follow up with that? That was beautiful.
I love you that I'm
so
giving you a
good.
softball question to answer positive, but you overcome that with even something even more positive.
Oh, I was like, Jeff, I feel like you don't like me.
No, I love you. No, I love you. But you're like the
We're
you're
not
like
liking
the,
me.
No, you're like the
She's
Cinderella,
amazing.
Snow White, of content creators, because you're just so positive.
You gotta
all the
meet her
time.
boyfriend or her husband, fiance, person.
The guy
that she hangs
the guy
with.
I've been with for 13 years who just proposed. We can call him boyfriend.
Well, hey,
But,
measure twice, cut once. That's fine. No shame in that game.
You guys grew up together.
You are just so positive with your stuff. Like, we're all getting back on here sometime, and it's almost like I want to get we'll have a couple drinks or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
you
then-
don't want to see me
then-
after a couple drinks?
Yes, we do.
The little imp in you
Yes,
will
we
come
do.
out.
Yes, we do.
Like, we can even find like a remote somewhere to
Yes,
go.
Jeff,
we
you
do.
on
should have
location.
provided mimosas. You would have had a time with
this should
me.
be like a brunch
Well,
podcast.
there'll be a volume 2.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like it.
100% there'll be a volume
Now
2.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
But I want to know what motivates you to get up every day and do this.
No, I definitely think it's hard for me because you mentioned so much about your followers. And when I got into this, I sadly didn't do it for that reason. I didn't do it for the followers. Like I said, I didn't know I could make money. I just wanted to post what I was already posting, and I wanted to be creative. And so I think that if I focus too much on the followers, I get so much social anxiety that I focus on the numbers and I focus on the views and I focus on that. And Charlie always tells me that it's the rudest thing to say. Why I focus on the numbers more than the followers. And I don't mean that in a way I don't want to connect with people, because I love freaking connecting with everyone in my comments or in my messaging, or like when people say something to me, I always message them back. Jen was actually a really big influence in that. She said, I answer everyone. And I was like, you're right. Why don't I? And I think it was a little bit of social anxiety that I didn't want to. But she said that and I was like, I should connect more with people because this platform is about connecting with people. And I think I've grown that in the past year. But prior to that, what got me up is just wanting to explore our city. And that sounds so kind of fake, I know. But it's the idea that I wanted to go out and explore things that I saw actually other people posting about, or that I saw on, a travel vlog or blog or anything like that. I wanted to be the person to experience what other people were experiencing, or to let people know about experiences they didn't know about. And I think that's what got me out of bed is I wanted to experience it so bad. Like once I said that earlier, like once it clicks. I can't get out of my head. That's how it is with businesses and activities and things and travel. Like I want to go to Paris in February, and Charlie is like, shit, it's in her head. She's not getting this out of it. Like I want to go and I want to find hidden gems in Paris, and I want to do that exploration. So the creativity gets me out of bed, because I feel like if I can't be creative with it, I'll lose it. And so that's what gets me out of bed. And the followers come next to it, and I love showcasing it to people who care about the content.
Cody told me one time, and I've never forgotten this. She said when she sees a line of people outside of a business or a place, that her first thought is like, I need to go get that line and see what they're eating, what they're doing. I'm the opposite. I see a line and I'm like, well, I'll never know. It'll just be a mystery.
That's a fact. Jen, I'm with you, girl. I'm like, ain't nobody waiting in that line. I'm going to wait till they call.
But
think
she
about
will. She's all about it.
But think about it with content, right? Like your video goes viral. I see 5 million views or 1 million likes or even 10,000 likes, 5,000 likes, whatever. I need to watch the whole video. Why are people liking this?
Right.
What am I missing that I'm not understanding? And that's what makes, that's my drive, right?
Yeah.
Like and We talked about the best butter cake in the world at Mastro's. And
Emmets.
and we
I'll be
talked
the
about the
tiebreaker.
anniversary, the content I just posted. And on my stories, I posted a personal note of why I did that vlog. And it's a 2-minute and 30-second vlog. I never do that much of a personal. I think it's boring. People watched it, which is so great. I'm grateful. But on my story, I said the reason I did this vlog is because I was missing a part of why I'm doing this. And I'm missing a huge part. And like, Jenna, we just had a conversation like 2-3 months ago. And you're like, Cody, get on the horse. Like, why aren't you posting? You could do so much better. And when I get discouraged, I get discouraged. And right now I'm in that point where you probably don't see me posting a lot. And it's because I'm trying to find a reason to get up and do it.
We're also buried in wedding stuff.
Oh, God, that's a whole different thing.
Life happens, honey.
Life
Life
happens.
happens. That's okay.
And then that's what I'm trying to tell myself is like life comes and like the past year, life has hit me like a brick and that's okay. But what I said to Charlie is for our anniversary, he wanted a hands-free night and I wanted a hands-on night, which means...
Hello.
You know, yeah.
Do you want to get the Cosmo balcony?
I know,
I
I
was about to say,
shouldn't. But like, I wanted to be on my phone and filming because I wanted to feel why I started in the beginning. And I wanted to go out and create an itinerary that, you know, was exactly what I wanted to showcase. And I didn't want anyone in my DM saying, come collab. I didn't want to feel bad about going to a restaurant that had just opened. No, I wanted to go where I wanted to go. And I wanted to feel that reason I filmed. And it was stupid. It was a $35 Polaroid cocktail at Beauty and Essex. Delicious cocktail, but like $35 for a cocktail. Like, I'm not shitting on Beauty and Essex. They're a great restaurant, but that's expensive.
I don't know if
that's
I'd say great.
The cocktail wasn't good?
No, the restaurant.
Oh, I like
Leave
the
it to Jen.
restaurant. I think
Leave it
it's
to Jen.
cool.
I like
From now
Beauty
on,
and
we
Essex
have to have these two together on every podcast.
Tell
No,
us.
I like
The
Beauty
good.
and Essex, but the Wonder Wheel, it's like $60, and they have like
I don't
popcorn
get
and
the Wonder
stale
Wheel. Who gets the Wonder
macarons and-
Wheel? You got to get
Everybody
the grilled,
making a video?
Well,
That's not what wakes
you got
her
to
up.
get the good stuff if you're making content.
Not what wakes her up.
But the tomato soup and grilled
The
cheese.
tomato soup and grilled cheese
I'm
is legendary.
sorry.
And the little roast beef horseradish.
They're delicious.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
you got to get the good stuff, right?
Yeah,
You
no,
can't-
I agree.
But anyways, my point was I'm finding why I'm doing it again, but I think that creativity gets me up and like that urge to want to showcase something different, unique, and fun. And I think that's when I make the best content. So yeah, that's me.
So for me, and I never thought this would be the case, because I started doing it initially because I wanted people to come to Vegas. It was right after COVID. And I was worried about tourism. Then I was like, maybe I can make a living doing this. This would be cool. Like the creator funds pay well. I'm going to give people content that's interesting and engaging. For me now, I don't have a lot of financial needs and I don't have any debt and I'm not materialistic. I don't really want things. So the money isn't as important to me as my nerdy thing is I love hearing from business owners that a video I made for them made a difference for them. Like a movable needle. You brought, like when a business texts me or sends me an email and they're like, we had a line the next day or we had 200 people come in and say that they saw your video, like I get an almost physical high. It's like my 20s all over again, but less Colombian. And it's so good though. And then followers will send me an email and they'll say, we came into town. We've done Vegas 50 times before, but this time we just did things you recommended and we had an amazing time, or we had the best wedding, or it was my divorce party and all my girls came and it was amazing. And I get a physical rush out of hearing that I positively impacted someone else because of the art that I made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that motivates me more than just about anything. And that's probably why I do a lot of the super small businesses, because it's easier to move the needle for them. But I really enjoy that. I'll tell you what I don't enjoy anymore, and I did in the beginning. The first time I was invited to get free food was at Mr. Shada.
Okay,
it's in the Southwest. It's sushi. And it was good, but I was like, I can't believe someone would give me sushi in exchange. I don't even like sushi. Sushi in exchange for a video. I, at this point, have no interest in parties and free champagne and PR gifts. And like, I don't want any of that. Because not only is there always an expectation to post something positive when you're included, but then you also have to kind of come to these forced socialize. I would rather be in an environment like this with like one or two of you, of people that I genuinely like, than sit at a table with 35 people with lights and like make small talk and pretend like we aren't talking shit, you know, in group text after it's over. And like, I just don't like that. it feels very high schoolish, and I will go to great lengths to avoid forced socialization. The only time I go to events anymore is when there's a personal connection. Like the last time I saw you guys out in public, I was at Juliet, and it was because the owner, Ryan, he owns Lynetta, Early Birds, Moss, Por Favor, and Electra. He's just a solid dude and a good friend and an ally. So when he invites me, I'm like, yeah, I'll come because I care about him and I want to show him that I'll show up for him. But when I get like the generic, will you come to our whatever? Like, no, the answer
templated
is no.
email that comes out.
Yeah, we talk about
creator.
We talk about that all the time. If it just like says hi and it's a general email, like you're right. We always talk about do we go and do we not go because it's not a genuine experience and everyone's getting the same email. Do you really want me there or do you want all of us there? And now you're just
They're casting
trying to
a wide net.
Yeah,
and they roll out the red carpet and then we recommend the place. I can't tell you how many times I've been burned because I went in and they were like, piling up Wagyu and like all that. I went to one place, they put a whole lobster tail on top of the mac and cheese and do a video on it. And then the followers go in and they're getting like 2 ounces of diced frozen lobster mixed into some crab.
That is so important. Don't invite us in if you're going to do something for us that you're not going to do for your customers.
It has to be the
Because
same.
it backfires on us.
Right. And then they think we're jerks.
Again, it is the disconnect in terms of the actual message you are conveying.
Right.
It's the disconnect with PR companies. It's the disconnect with traditional media. It's the disconnect that's, I think, evolving, but we're still in the infancy of it. Because the fact that you even have to say that, to say, don't give me don't give me whatever, something special. I want whatever anybody else on would order off the menu.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
And I'll do my thing from there.
Yeah, we typically schedule our own session when it comes to those levels of invites because I think for us too, it's just about everyone's touching everything and like you said,
and by the time you get to eat it, it's cold.
And obviously like we're all cool, but obviously there's some of us that aren't as cool with each other as we would like. So you got to be in this room with people you don't necessarily jive with, and you're fighting for camera space. Everybody has the same video and footage. So we tend to be very selective. And plus, like, again, when you're being your authentic self, like people like to see date nights and what you and your friends like to do. And so when you make it about what you like to do and you bring your friends with you or your man with you or your girl with you, it personalizes the experience a little bit better for people to see. So you're not fighting for camera space and lighting and
like your
and
video
all
of
those
Chris
thing.
eating the plate while you're still taking your first bite.
Yes.
That was a great
All right,
video.
I have to do this. It's an extra credit question, and then we're done. Okay. Oh my gosh. And this is for all of you. If you were opening up a insert restaurant genre here, can be whatever, pizza, burgers, Italian, sushi, butter cake, whatever you want, but you're just one location, you've got a decent budget, who are the 3 content creators you're going to hire?
Oh, God.
Oh,
I won't do this.
It's a trap. It's a trap.
I won't do
I'll do it.
And but here's the thing. Here's the 3 content creators that you would bring. Not that you're excluding anybody. It's just the 3 that come to mind now. I'm not saying you're throwing shade at anybody. That's not my point of this.
Are we going to cut it like that, though?
No, we're
Okay.
not. No, Mac, don't cut it that way. No,
Don't
we won't.
cut it like
we will
that.
not.
We got to give context here.
We will
He's
not.
good. He doesn't throw anyone
No,
under a
listen,
bus.
we wouldn't be here
Because
right
I got
now.
shade for the last one, so I don't
if
want to do
if I was a
this.
gotcha guy, we wouldn't be here right now. She wouldn't. This is her 3rd time here.
Yeah.
I know.
That's not. I'm
She's
not
in a
TMZ.
safe space.
This is. I want it more to. I want vulnerability of leveraging who you know to say. If you owned a restaurant, you had a decent budget, who are the 3 content creators you'd bring in and when? Do you bring them in all at once? Or do you bring them in, like, you drip it out over time? And I'm not saying you're throwing other content creators under the bus.
Okay, so I'll go first because last time there was some drama around this.
Yeah.
The drama came from Drew giving a list, and he went simply by people who are daily posters with the largest numbers. That's it. And from his personal experience as a business owner on what has moved the needle for his businesses. There are people that he likes personally more than who he listed. It wasn't a personality thing. It wasn't him picking his friends. It was his experience working in marketing. So I would say you need to figure out who your target audience is. So if you're opening a restaurant that's like Taste Buds Creole Kitchen, then you're going to pick like Bullet Head. I don't know if he goes by that or his real name.
Does.
But okay,
Yeah, he
Bullet
does.
Head. He's a guy who speaks to that type of food. You guys would also be good choices for that. but also like Talls, who's an adventurous eater and puts herself out there and will like jump in and try this stuff. I'm from Memphis. I think I would be a good choice for that one too, because I appreciate that type of cuisine. But you wouldn't necessarily take like, I don't know, Sammy probably wouldn't be my first choice because she's more of like caviar and steak and like, I'm trying to
say like Phil then. Well, Phil might though.
Phil would, I don't know that I would pick Phil for that. I mean, I think he could like it, but I don't know that he would
Phil can be in your 3, honey bunny.
Yeah.
No. I was saying
I'm
she
saying for
looked
that
at me.
specific restaurant because Phil is like your guy for like if you've got a
Okay.
$700 a person omakase experience,
'cause
there
we
is
were comparing
nobody in the
caviar
city that's
people,
better
yeah.
than Phil.
He's the guy.
So it's about knowing who your target demographic is. But if we're picking the algorithms are so weird right now that like even great creators can't get views and then like a random person will get 1 million. I think that you can't get her. But Alexandra Lourdes is a powerhouse. She's a marketing genius. Her and I are not friends. We are friendly. We are making strides towards being friendlier, but I haven't always had great experiences at her restaurants. We haven't collaborated. We don't know each other. But she is a marketing genius. And if you can get her to come in and do one of her like day in the life of, and then I went by or whatever, like there's no denying that she's got the numbers, she's got the power, and she's recognizable. Drew is undeniably phenomenal. He's a really, really great choice. He's worth whatever he charges. And then I really like, if I have to pick a third place, it would depend on the demographic, but I would lean towards like a Phil or a Lindsay. Lindsay is great because Lindsay puts her whole heart and soul into it. And like Lindsay's the type of person that she's only going to say kind things and like really hype you up. Phil is going to be brutally honest, but if you can nail it and like impress him, he will repost content for you until the end of time. So he's a great choice.
You do that too.
So I do like to repost the ones that I enjoy. I do. And some people come at me and they're like, oh, you must be paid by them. I'm like, no, they were good.
No,
like,
if you genuinely like them, you'll like post them 5-6 times down the road.
And just so you guys know, I rarely give people editorial oversight of what I post for clips here. But what I will do is I will send you the clip ahead of time. And if you're like, no, I won't post it.
He doesn't want to throw anyone under a bus.
I won't post it.
No, you're good.
That's how much I believe in like what I'm doing here is I really want this to be a safe space. People think that I'm this big Trumper and I'm, for lack of a better term, in bed with Jen on stuff. I'm not a big Trumper and I'm not in bed with Jen. I just believe
or on
in
any balcony.
I was going to say,
or
I've been on balconies.
balconies. Actually, she's the one that told me to go there with my fiance. But I love Jen's brain. I love that deep down she roots for the underdog.
I do.
She roots for the underdog, and that's something that, for lack of a better, there's no better comparison. My mom, rest in peace, mom, was the same person, and so taught me to be that way. So when we first got together here for the first one, this was months ago, and she said that, I'm like, you've got me because of that. So if you want to answer it, you can. If you don't feel comfortable with it and you want to pass on it, that's okay too.
Well, the last thing I want to say is I also want to say you mentioned having a healthy budget. I think if you're a business and you're just starting out and you want to hire, that the best thing that you can do is, first of all, don't have everybody in on the same night to cover all the same content. Stagger it out, have someone every few weeks. But instead of going after a big fish like myself or Drew or even Lindsay or Phil, take that budget and go after some nano and micro creators. And I define that as between like 25,000 and like 300,000. Go after them and hire 6 or 7 of those to come in every 4 weeks, space it out. You can get them at a fraction of the cost of the big creator. You have a higher chance of going viral out of 7 tries than you will out of 1 try. Do I think that if you have a great budget that you should hire someone like me? Absolutely. But if your budget is finite, and let's say it's $10,000, 10 micro creators at $1,000 for a profile, they're going to work harder. Wow. And you have, the algorithms are so engagement based now that you have just as much of a chance of going viral with a video from Cody or Renee as you do with me. And so I don't know that paying me $5,000 or $10,000 to come in is necessarily like the justification and cost to spend. Like I'm really chasing bigger corporate deals at this point. I don't want to take $500 from like a strip mall sushi place. But for a micro or a nano creator who isn't as heavily monetized with significant brand deals, you can make a big difference to them. They can make a big difference to you. And I would go after those. That's what I would do.
Okay, who's your three ladies?
Oh, I
was going to say, let's see what you say.
No, I mean, because Jen is right. What does a healthy budget look like, and what is the restaurant,
you know what,
right?
Give an example. She said Creole. Give an example of, say, think of whatever genre you want.
Okay, so if we have like a new restaurant coming out here, because there's tons, like let's say it's Dominican food or something like that, I would definitely want to get the smaller micro influencers in. I mean, obviously, I'll just rep my husband, okay, because he's really good at that. And I know that his audience would cater to something like that because they're looking for the culture. Talls is another really good one because she's very just, I'll try anything, anywhere, anytime. She'll eat it. And I think Brandon's also good because he likes to go to the places that the locals like to go to, right? So I think that's really good. But I would also throw a Cody in there because
I like how when Drew said it too, he said a local living. I love that. You're like a Cody.
No,
I am
but
like a species at this point.
I would throw a Cody in because I also would want to attract people who are not familiar with that food.
Yeah,
I want, you know what I mean? Because we can go all day. Okay, it's a Black-owned business. I want all Black creators. Or if it's this kind of business, I want these type of creators. But I think it's good to kind of mix them a little bit of big, a little bit of small, and just different because her audience probably isn't going out to get Dominican food. I could be wrong, but most of her audience may not be looking for that stuff. Just like her and her fiance hadn't tried African food before or calabash. So to introduce her audience to something like that, they would see, some growth, but also some diversity in their customers. So it's not just one sector of the community getting their food and create some longevity with their business.
That's
because you need everyone.
When I did Taiwan Deli, the owner who's from Taiwan, she called me and she says, "I know you posted your video." And I said, "How do you know?" Because she's not on social media. She's like 80. She said, "Because my restaurant is full of white people." And I said, okay. And she's like, it's so cool.
And because we do a lot of heavy socials for Calabash. And when I walk in there, I love seeing the diversity.
Right.
I see Asian families, white families, children. And we are not pigeonholing that social to just Black influencers. So, of course, we want the culture to know, and we're going to put some of those influencers out there. But we want people who have never tried it, who've never seen it, or they look at it and it's like, oh, I don't know if I want to try. No, come in and try it. Yeah. And that may take a Cody, a Jen, someone else that may not even be familiar with it themselves to come in, learn something new, try something that they are like, okay, I really like this. Now they're coming in just to come in because
dreaming about.
Yeah, they coming in just to come in because the food is good. Mm-hmm. They may post it just on their story, but now their audience is going, wow, I would have never tried African food. I don't even have Black friends. Let's go in and try it. And now they're in there.
I don't even have Black friends.
I know.
Selma, Alabama just called and went, thank you so much.
Yeah,
1956.
Everybody's like, I got that one Black friend. Yeah, I got a Black friend. But like, how often are you hanging out
Janice,
with that friend?
You're Black. Are you free tonight? We need you to come over. We just need a little pepper sprinkled on the salad for tonight.
Hey,
thank you so much.
I noticed you didn't invite any Black friends. Do you need one?
Jesus
Do you
Christ.
need one? The tokens are ready. I got you. Me and CB, we on the way. Okay?
Oh my God.
Don't get it twisted. We be there.
Speaking specifically about Calabash, what was cool about that, I didn't expect that content to do super well because it's a cuisine that people don't really know about. It's not common. We have 3 or 4 authentic African restaurants in Vegas? Like, I know Dutch hot pot, right?
Dutch is Jamaican.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
I thought it was
Dutch
African.
pot is Jamaican.
Okay.
They're like elevated Jamaican food, which is really good. The guys from New York
then I can do that
because
I was putting it off because I didn't want to do it too close to Calabash. So it's different.
Yeah, so Calabash is Senegal, like West African food.
Right on.
And Gambian. And then, Dutch pot is like Jamaican cuisine.
Okay.
So, but the thing about African and Jamaican food and Caribbean food is it's a lot of the same. They like their oxtails. They like their deep fried red snappers. They like their soups. All that stuff. Their plantains. So you'll get that from everywhere, but they just cook it a little different. My stepfather, he's from Puerto Rico. Again, we have the tostones, the plantains. It's a lot of the same. It's just prepared differently. So,
but what I was surprised to see is how well the content did on my channel, simply because there are people who they're tired of the same like steakhouse and smash burger or whatever, you know. So they see it and they're like, we don't have this in our town. Like, I want to go try it. And like, maybe they love it, maybe they don't. But the content did well because it was different. And I've gotten to where like I'm seeking out things that are more different instead of just like here's a ribeye and potatoes au gratin and you know, because all the steakhouses at their core are very similar. Mm-hmm. But when you can find a restaurant like Dominican food, I did a Peruvian, mi carboncito, and they did Peruvian roast chicken, and they take these big chickens and they cook them on rotisseries, and they're like stuffed with herbs and spices. It's legitimately the best roasted chicken I've ever had. And it's kind of a hole in the wall. Like it's everyone going in is like in construction vests and stuff like that. It was so good.
But I leave it to you influencers too to introduce your audience to something new, because it brings me and Chris so much joy to have you guys come into that restaurant and try stuff. And I mean, like you and your fiance were blowing our minds, because we were just like so happy to see the joy on your face when you were eating stuff, and you were just like so surprised on how good it tasted.
Charlie told the wedding planner, we had a meeting with the wedding planner right after, like literally stepped out, went to the Starbucks, had the call. Yeah. He told the wedding planner about it. He was like, we just had some really good food and was talking about it. He's like, I'm going to come back next week.
I need y'all to be on point.
So that's
the goal, right? To introduce you to something new, to broaden your horizons culturally, and to have that be explained to your audience, who will do anything that you do because they relate to you. So if they're like, if you're willing to try something new, let me get my butt up and try it. And then
Cody,
what's yours?
I want.
I thought we were over it.
I know. You were praying. You were
I was
praying.
like, God, it's so funny.
A
I'm
brain
like
like an elephant.
Exactly.
The restaurant concept. What would it be? And who are your top 3 influencers you would hire? Oh, also, what's your monthly budget? And top 3 influencers you would hire. Not throwing any influencers that you did not name. Not throwing any of them shade. It's just.
No pressure, but you know you're going to get a hate text for this.
Oh, I'm going to get blown up. I got blown up and I wasn't even in the last clip.
Some drama.
Like, I love you all. I'm Switzerland, for goodness sake.
You
but
are.
Like,
You are. You really are.
And I try so hard. I think, you know what's so funny is I'm having a meeting with someone on Monday about this exact conversation. She wants to bring in influencers over the next 6 months, and she wants to know who I would bring, the size I would bring, and the budget of what to pay them. And I think that it is important to realize exactly what Jen said. Content is not all the same you see on everyone's profile. So I just posted for Better Buzz. I did a good video, but I posted the next video and it tanked. I mean, to say you would hire me is like saying that you're guaranteeing something will happen. And so it's really hard to say, hey, I think like I'll just use the girls here. Like I will hire Jen. I would hire Renee. Like you don't know what their content will do. Even if she could post burgers every single day and that burger post could freaking tank because the algorithm hates you. And so I think to pick influencers and say that those influencers are going to be the best influencers for your business is ignorant of the algorithm and what people post. I think that's my comment. I think that everyone has a way they post, and I think it depends on the influencer and how they care about that job and the person bringing him in.
You'd be such a good politician.
Oh, no.
You're so good.
That was such a non-answer.
It was everything and nothing.
That was such a word salad non-answer, but it was. But your delivery, was so spot on.
But it's so true.
People would be like, that bitch really knows what she's talking about, and I'm not offended. I like her. Who is she? I'm going to follow her. Holy shitballs.
But it's so true. It's so true. Like, come on. Like I'm so grateful to be listed as one of the influencers, and same as her, and she would be great. It's just, it's ignorant of the platforms we're on to say that we only have 5, and that's no shade to Drew, that's no shade to Dren, that's no shade to her to pick people. It just is dependent on each day. And
but the drama that she got drug into.
Don't start more drama.
No. But the reason is because we all take what we do so seriously that when we think we're not, like, we all think that we're good at what we do.
Oh, 100%.
Like, no
Absolutely,
one,
I am the best. Hire me.
Yeah. Right. No one is doing this. So when you get left out, or you get left out of an invite, or you don't get included, or whatever, you feel like, what
fucking sucks.
Am I not being seen? Like I wasn't invited to the Hello Kitty Cafe opening.
True.
I wouldn't have gone because I don't like to be social, but Drew left me off the list.
Yeah.
And this was years ago. It was before
This
Drew
was a
knew who
conversation.
I
I remember talking to you
But
about it.
every time I get a chance to bring that up to Drew, I do, because I just want him to know that I'm still bitter. And not really, we've moved on, but it
Stop
hurt.
being so petty.
The
Don't
reason
do
it hurt is because I got left out. I left them off an invitation list for the magician study almost 1 year ago, like for the Halloween night. And the reason that they were left off was just an absolute oversight. He gave me a list of the people he wanted invited. I reached out to them. They weren't on the list. If I had made the list, I would have included them because we invited a ton of people. But it was like you're rushing, you're trying to plan stuff, like someone just like a wedding invitation list or whatever. Like someone got, and he reached out and was like, was there any reason I was left out? And I immediately was like, holy shit, I know how that feels. And it totally wasn't personal, like at all. But it just happened because there's so many of us and it's really hard to keep track of who's doing what. And if you're not talking to them regularly.
Top of mind.
Yeah,
Yep,
you
100%.
Top of mind, y'all.
I actually just talked to someone about this, though, a fellow influencer, and I think this is why I answered the way I answered, because it actually freaking hurt to hear this. And a year ago, I was working with a company doing influencer management, and I brought in specific influencers, and she also reached out, and she was like, hey, I wasn't invited to that. Is there a reason? And my stupid reply, and it's because of what the business told me, was that, sorry, you don't have a large enough following. And it was, and I've heard that prior to, and I was like off the top of my head, I was in a rush to, it was right after we got done, and I was, it was shitty. I should never have said that. And no creator should hear they're not big enough, because any content, we just talked about, any content can go viral. Anything. You can have, like my friend, 8,000 followers. She posted a video a few months ago. I think it did get 75,000. So girl, you went viral, by the way, just so you know. But like it was shitty of me to say that to that person, because no matter your following, you are going to be good enough if you are passionate about the content. And that's where it is,
That
right? And she
happened to
was, they were passionate
us.
about the content, no matter, and their following was fine. It was my ignorance to what I'm saying.
But it hurts when you
It does.
I swear on my kids' eyes, this is my last question, and I want one single answer from you. This isn't going to be a long
No
answer,
stories.
okay? If you are a business and you're a small business and you're looking to hire content creators, what should your monthly budget be? And even give a range. You could say from here to here, or you need at minimum this much money.
So wait, does it depend on the influencer? Like you said budget, to just any budget? I think it depends on...
If I'm launching a business here in Las Vegas and I want influencers instead of hiring a advertising PR marketing company.
Instead, okay.
Instead, how much money should I have in my account for a 1 year of having this person coming in or having people coming in? How much money should I have set aside?
10 grand.
For a small business?
A month? Oh, we're
Yes.
talking monthly.
Monthly. 10 grand a month.
Maybe 5 grand a month.
You can do it for 5 grand.
Steep.
If you're a small business and you're just opening and you need to get your name out there and you need all levels of influencers, which I'm thinking of, so anywhere between $300 to $1,000, depending on the influencer. If they're a really big influencer, you may want to give them all 5 because you know they're going to move the needle for you. I would say 5 grand a month.
I would say call 3 PR firms and take the median on what those 3 would charge you individually for representation, and invest that instead in direct to consumer social marketing. I would also say, regardless of what your budget is, shoot your shot. And I don't mean send an email that says, can we collab? I'll give you free tacos. Like, don't do that. Reach out and don't say, like, what does it cost to get you to come in? Reach out and say, I have a budget of $1,000.
Right.
This is all I have. I'm a small business. Not a sob story. We don't care about your pet surgery last month. Not that we don't care, but you know what I mean?
We care, but we not in the business
it's still
talk.
business.
Yeah, right.
It's a business.
It's business. So reach out and say, I have $1,000. Is there anything in your scope of services that we can do in a paid partnership?
Yep.
And I know me personally, if I'll do my research, and if I find out they're really owned by like 2 Vegas people who are just trying to start out, you know, whatever, like most of the time I'm going to come back and be like, I'll be there Wednesday. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? But if it's a company and they got a few locations, I'll be like, yeah, for $1,000, we can do this and that and the other or whatever. Shoot your shot. No matter what your budget is, with everybody, the small ones and the big ones. And you can get some of those nano and micro influencers in there for a few $100s, and you might go viral, and it'll be worth $1 million.
And then to get a larger influencer like you, it's going to be $5,000 a month.
I mean, I would like $5,000 a month, but I would be lying if I told you that any small business has that type of marketing budget.
Right.
And they shouldn't punt it all on one person. They should diversify.
Right. Okay.
Right.
I would say that, like, if you're a big corporation, 5,000 is where we're going to start talking.
Exactly.
For a paid disclosure. And there's people with my following that are charging 25 and 50 and getting it. So like 5,000 is really reasonable. But for a small business, I have done more for free than I will ever get paid for.
Or
and I'm
we
okay
go in
with
and
that.
pay for the meal and
Yeah,
make the
go in and
content.
pay. Yeah.
I know I'm always last. I feel
That's okay.
I think that
I can't wait for this.
stop it. Cody for president 2021. I can't even run for president. When can I run for president? 45? How old do you have to be to run for president?
35, I think.
I think it's 35.
Yep.
I got 5 years. Next presidential campaign. I think for a budget, it would be, God, I like the $5,000. I won't lie, per month, but I think it's unreasonable for a small business. My best advice, and this is what we all talk about this in the influencer community, is when you hire an influencer to do it, you're either hiring a PR company or you can hire an influencer to do your marketing, your social media management, or another content creator. But hire someone who actually has ties to the influencer community, and you will get someone who they're going to show care for your business to their influencer friends, quote unquote, say, and they'll get you the best deals possible. So like,
Because we trade.
Or like some of us have been like, hey, they only have this much money. Can you please do it for this much because they really want you in? And we'll be like, you know what? Yeah, because you do it for me. And Vegas is all about connections. And that is the same as our Las Vegas influencer community. And what people don't realize about our Las Vegas community over any other community in the entire country is how close our network is in Vegas. We just went to an event and the marketing person, well, I'll say what it was. It was for the Raiders, the pre-party.
The tailgate.
The tailgate.
Yeah.
And the lady was like, I didn't realize you all knew each other. And I was
Yeah,
like,
that's
true. That's
true.
We are close.
Yeah.
Like
We saw you. And
yeah, we all hug, we
Yeah.
all say hello, we all know each other, we've all been to the same events. Like, this is a small community in Vegas. And so when you work with someone who knows all of us, then it's easier and your budget can be smaller. Because you can work some deals.
For sure. Like we talked about Calabash. I'm assuming that was not a brand deal for you.
It was not a brand deal.
No, we just went
because of
like
you guys.
they work with them and like we are cool with them. So you know what I mean? And like Gabby Donuts, same thing. You used to work with them. And you know, you guys have all done stuff that I've worked with, lip smacking foodie tours because I'm emotionally invested. We've all done foodie tours. Magician Study because he's my homie. Like, you know what I mean? So like we trade, and it's not a trade like tit for tat. Like you do this, I'll do that.
I will
ask
you this: when we just talked about this a while ago with, we're supposed to end, but the PR companies, and this is another request for PR companies. Are you friends with PR companies? Like, are you friends like with people? Because I'm not, and I work with them, and I have a great relationship with them, and I love working with them. But like, don't say you know me personally and can get us in the door.
No, but I will tell you that there's a few PR companies that are doing the work to build relationships. What'd you do?
No, you're good.
There's a few PR companies like Megan Fazio at Neon.
Oh, yeah.
That she's doing the work to reach out, not just when she needs something, but like she'll come over at an event and be like, "Oh my gosh, your hair looks great. How are you?"
I heard she's so sweet. Yeah.
Like we're not friends. We don't hang out. Like I don't think she knows my kids' names and I don't know her dog's name, but like we're friendly. And we have the potential to be friends because I like her and I think she likes me.
So maybe it's just like certain caliber of influencers because like I don't get reached out to like that.
But the difference is like if Megan reached out and was like, "Hey, this is a client. Do you want to come to the grand opening?" Immediately no. But if she reached out and she was like, "Hey, my friend Eduardo opens Queen. They have a drag brunch. Like he has no budget. Would you do it?" I'm like, "Girl, I'm in." You know, like it's personal to you. I'll like, but Vox Authentic, I have a good relationship with them, but if they reached out and they were like, "Will you do us a favor?" Like, no, this is business. Like, are you going to come wash my car?
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
Because in the club, we all fam.
You said you're friendly with PR companies?
I mean, yeah, I know a couple of PR companies. One Brand Bomb, she's a good friend of mine, Lindsay. She's always looking out, for stuff like that. And because we have a really great relationship, it's like, oh, yeah, tell us when to pull up and we'll be there, Yeah. But we have had situations with other PR companies where we felt like, and he's like shaking his head, that we were excluded from a lot of things, you know, or if something opens up and you guys are getting these cool, funky PR boxes and we get nothing. And it's like, what separates them from getting something that we should be getting, right? And that's, we can go on a whole tangent about how Black influencers are treated industry-wide. But yeah, just to end it there, I just think that, you know, I think collectively as a family, we all, you know, do our best to support each other.
Yeah, as
you
we
know,
should, yeah.
as you would in any business. You know, you build relationships with the people doing it. You know, we all engage in each other's content to help each other out, and that's the goal. And if there is a small business with a limited budget, but just like if you were to sell a product, if you feel you know, inspired by them, or you feel a connection to them in some way, shape, or form, you're going to do what you need to do to help. No, you know, no questions asked. But at the end of the day, it is a business, and you know, you got to treat it as such. So,
have you guys done 303 in the Cut?
Yes.
Okay.
He's so nice.
Have you ever
His
done him?
story
No.
is great.
No.
Okay, so he's a guy who no marketing budget, grassroots, makes his own food from scratch in a commercial kitchen, really legit food, really, really nice. But he's an example of like, and Desert Beauty Lab.
Yep.
Have you ever been down there?
We've been to Desert Beauty
You
Lab
convinced
a
me
few
to go,
times.
and it was great.
Yeah,
I love
like
it.
there are people in our community that are not paying creators because they either don't have the budget or because they've done the work. But like Desert Beauty Labs, when she calls and she's like, I got a new pedicure, I'm like, I'm there.
We're there.
I'll be there, you know? And it's not always about your budget or your money. It's about,
I think it's about the people. Like,
Yeah.
and you said that you're waking up and connecting to your audience, but we want to connect to the businesses just as much as they want to connect to us, to connect them to our
Because like
audience.
you said, it makes your heart warm to know that you made a difference in someone's life, whether it be their life, their business, their kids, whatever. Like, that's the driving force.
and somehow Brian at Maverick has got all of us.
He's the best.
like, have you guys have flown Maverick, right?
Of course.
Yeah, like
Several
Maverick.
times.
I'm going to start calling him to take me to my nail appointments. Like,
oh my god!
but they're a big company, and yet they have relationships with every one one of us. And like, do you ever see anyone flying like, what are the other companies? Papillon?
No,
and,
I
didn't even know there were any.
No, it's all
honestly,
Maverick.
Good
And
answer.
he's good. We need
Good
to
answer.
We need to corner him and figure out how he worked that out, because we all fly Maverick.
Let's do a remote sometime podcast in a Maverick helicopter.
Period.
Hey,
How badass would that be?
That would be amazing.
we want to be in the
Grand Canyon.
helicopter.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
good.
You
Ladies-
can't take anyone else though. It has to be us three.
Okay. Well, we'll came up with. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This has
Thank
been
you.
awesome. I
Amazing.
appreciate
Thanks
it,
for
Jen.
having
Thank
us.
you for putting it together. You're the best.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Thanks for
you.
having us.
This was fun.